The RCWR Show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. You're checking out episode number 1068 of the RCWR Show for this Wednesday night of January 3rd, 2024. I keep thinking for some weird reason that we're past the first week of January. For some reason, I keep thinking that it is now January 8th, 9th, 10th. Don't know what's going on with you, man. I don't know if I'm anticipating something or what. Maybe I'm thinking about getting that W-2 already so I can do my tax returns. You know how that goes. The earlier you do it, the better, as you can pretty much get any money that's owed to you a lot sooner. Not dealing with any anxiety or anything like that. I don't know why I'm thinking about that time frame, but for some weird reason, all day today, I've been thinking for some odd, I can't explain it, I really can't, but I keep thinking that today is January 8th, sometimes 9th, sometimes 10th, so very weird. Now, you would think, because everybody usually does it in the first month of the new calendar year, still writes down the previous year. I haven't done that yet. I have not done that yet, so hey, now that I've put that out there, I'm probably going to jinx myself. Hey, if you guys got X, formerly known as Twitter, let me know what you had thought about this week's AEW Dynamite show. And of course, you can also sound off, letting your voices be heard in the comment section as well. I did not get a chance to put up the poll because two things. One, Dynamite went into a little bit of overtime. And then two, I literally just got done feeding all three of my girls. So they were just pretty much, daddy, it's time to eat already. Like, Dad, you know how it is when you have a household full of pets, right? And they're used to eating at a particular time. I've pretty much had them hounding me for the past 45 minutes while I was trying to watch the main event. That joint said, yeah, that was nice, the treats that you hooked us up with earlier, Big Daddy, but that's not going to do it. We need something a little bit more meaty. We need something that has a little bit more substance to it, okay? So now they are all satisfied just laying around, smacking their chops, all that good jazz. But I do have a poll up on X, formerly known as Twitter, asking you guys what you thought about Dynamite. So sound off. Keep it simple. 3 options. Middle of the road, thumbs up, thumbs down. Look, honestly, just overall snapshot, I felt that this Dynamite to kick off the new calendar year was good in a lot of areas. I got to give a lot of respect to Tony Khan, as Chris Jericho was nowhere to be seen on this episode. He was not even referenced from everything that had went down with his match at the Worlds End pay-per-view from over the weekend. None of that was highlighted whatsoever. Now, some of you guys may also ask the question, okay, well, did AEW at least formally put some type of a statement out there in regards to Jericho for the audience? Did they have the commentators, or did Tony Khan say anything? No, nothing of that magnitude. Look, it's interesting how all of this has morphed, is it not? Because, and I want to make sure that it's crystal clear in case I did not let it be crystal clear on that AEW, not really the post show for Worlds End, but from our Monday night show, which is, look, whatever is going on with Chris Jericho and the reputation that, a negative reputation that apparently is put out there, as now we've seen that Rene Dupree, who used to be a wrestler in WWE back in the day, worked the independents for the longest time. He had entered the realm of podcasting. I think he did it about 2 years ago, maybe three at most, but I check him out from time to time. I love the work that he does on there. We've got him now sharing to the mix what he heard from wrestlers that basically said, oh, yeah, Chris Jericho, yeah, well-known reputation for sleeping around on guys' girlfriends and wives. And, they just talked about that for several minutes, and you're just going, woof, right? And so all the stuff that we're hearing about Chris Jericho, when it's all said and done, and I want to make sure that we let this be known perfectly clear, because I was hanging out in Discord earlier, and the topic of discussion had came up, and one thing that I had pointed out is the fact that, look, this man very well could be in a situation where he has some type of a opened relationship with his wife. We know Will and Jada Pickett Smith, they have their own little arrangement. I know for the longest time, Ozzy Davis and Ruby D, they had a open relationship, believe it or not. Shout out if you know your actors, Hollywood and all that, but they had an open relationship as well. So couples are going to go do their little thing, what have you. And some people, look, when it's all said and done, morally, is that a poor way to operate in a relationship? But yeah, you can make an argument. You can definitely make a pro argument. You can definitely make a con argument for why it's a bad idea. For one adult to have consensual sex with another adult, hey, that is entirely, even if it's a case where some form of adultery, if you want to call it that, is being committed, especially if the partner does not know, look, would it make an individual a scumbag when it's all said and done? Yeah. Is it a case where, at least in North America, can you go to jail for it? No, unfortunately. Last I checked, you can't. I'm not defending. I'm just really making sure that we put a nice, pretty little bow and ribbon on that whole thing. I know Nick Hausman is now starting to back up just a little bit from some of the comments that he put out there. I'm sure some of the backlash that he received, to the point, I remember what I said on Monday night, defamation, slander, and all that other stuff. Remember what I said with that. And I would not be surprised if Jericho's camp maybe had reached out to Nick Hausman and said, look, this stuff that you put out here, where is your proof? Where is your definitive proof? And now we see Nick Hausman is trying to walk back on some of the things that he said, to basically link Chris Jericho to Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, that's definitely going to rub some people the wrong way. That's definitely going to make some people raise an eyebrow. That's definitely going to cause an uproar on social media, which is exactly what was done. And look, if there really are individuals out there that truly were, just to echo one more time what I said from the Monday night show, if there are individuals that feel, no, what had went down between myself and Chris Jericho, it was not consensual sex. This really was a case where actually the guy blackmailed me, said if I wanted a push that, or he really did force himself upon women over the years and everything like that. Those victims, those individuals, it's their respected stories to tell. They're going to have to jump out there. And in a day and age now, we touched upon it. When somebody puts a little post out there, when somebody puts a post out there and it's hard, it's liked, we all do it all the time where, oh, because they heart or they liked or they reposted this must mean that they endorse it, or this must mean, and it's not so much psychoanalyzing the things that people like, repost, things of that nature. I'm sure you guys can recall some very controversial posts on social media from over the years where you go, wow, talk about anti Semitism at its worst. Why is this individual liking this post? Why are they reposting this? Why are they hearting it? Right? Why are they liking this in general? What the hell are they trying to say that? And some people play the social media game in that type of a cryptic tone, believe it or not. And then you have others that will not only like, heart, what have you, but they'll double down. They'll put their money where their mouth is, and they'll actually comment on whatever it was that they had liked, reposted, whatever the whole thing is that we all do these days on social media. You know how it is and everything. So obviously with Kylie Ray doing what she did, that definitely caused up quite a storm and everything. But if there are individuals out there, it's up to them to step up to the plate and speak upon it. I want to make sure we let that be made perfectly clear. The other thing that needs to be set perfectly clear is the fact that in regards to Jericho, look, it does not help. Y'all can correct me as we're live on the air right now for the next little bit. That way we can have the most up-to-date information. I have not checked on Jericho's social media posts in a couple of days. I know that one of the last times I was making my rounds, checking out what was going on the wrestling news beat, nothing was mentioned of Jericho posting anything. But if that's changed at this point that we're live right now, let me know. But Jericho has yet to put any type of statement out there saying, hey, look, I'm well aware of the reports that is in circulation. And I have to just tell you all that what you're hearing, what is being circulated online, isn't true at all. It is not true at all. I'm not sure how this started, why, but no, get in front of it. Jesus, get in front of it, because get in front. Oh, I see what she's doing. Hang on. We got a little distraction here. That's not for you. Get on out there. Thank you. Well, I tell you, the littlest one was about to get herself. What? I know you ain't hard-headed. Get. We're going to have to kick them out because she has discovered something that's a big no-no. Hang on, guys. That's a big no-no. And we'll just let you guys roam. There we go. That way I don't have to worry about getting any distractions from here on out. Okay, so now we're good. Train of thought got interrupted there. Let me just regain myself there. Yeah, he's got to get in front of this as soon as humanly possible, because the longer that you let this drag out on social media and you're being silent, it just does, optics-wise, it does not look good. Now, I know that typically we'll have individuals that'll jump out there from time to time, and I've seen this. And these people, they mean well. But I would say they are young and naive, and they haven't been in a position before where they need to defend themselves as far as their character and all that. And that is, from time to time, I'll see something in regards to a controversy. Well, why should they say anything? Why should they be upset about something like this being spread about them? And everything, if it isn't true, why be upset? Why should they even say anything? They don't owe anything to the public. No, on the contrary, when your character is being defended, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, your name is your reputation, right? Your name is your brand. So to have that be thrown in the mud, you feel where I'm coming from? That's like, I have been in a position where I've seen with my own two eyes some of my friends get accused of some stuff, And they've had to, they got right in front of the damn thing. They shut that mother lover down as soon as it had got started. Okay? They got in front of it, squashed it, and that was pretty much the end of it. And nothing, of this magnitude of what's been happening with Jericho and all of that, some, some, I would say some low level stuff, but they got in front of it, put their foot down, and but look at what happened with that one judge, Judge Kavanaugh. Remember that? Remember that? He was trying to get appointed and all that other stuff. And remember how there was comedy skits left and right making fun of him over how upset he had got. I mean, he was getting all beat red, pounding the table and all that other stuff. And people are going, wait a minute, this guy is supposed to be in consideration for being a Supreme Court judge with this temperament? Like, no, this guy shouldn't even, right? That was the whole topic of discussion. I know for sure, definitely at a lot of campuses, it was like, yo, what do you think about what's going on here with Judge Kavanaugh? And a lot of people looked at him being so upset and all this other stuff because, oh, there must be truth to this, because why else? No, you can be upset while trying to defend yourself at the same time. I think that the greatest sin that one can commit is not saying anything at all, because that lets the rumors, the speculation metastasized, right? It just lets it grow into this big old. I'll give you two Hollywood examples of rumors and innuendos that largely in part messed up a celebrity. Okay, you ready for it? So without being long-winded, how many of you all that know your R&B music, how many of you all are familiar with Freddie Jackson? Freddie Jackson came up at the peak of his career, came right at about the same time of the late Luther Vandross. And anytime you had put on the radio back in the day, Freddie Jackson was just all over the place. But then there was this rumor that got started up about his sexuality. And, oh, he's gay, and, oh, he has AIDS. And, I mean, one thing just led into another, but the main focal point was the fact that, oh, he's gay. And to this date, he has never confirmed or denied whether or not he's gay. Right down to the point, there was an episode of BET's Unsung. It's basically like VH1's Behind the Music. Shout out if you remember that series back in the day. Great series. The question about his sexuality and all that had came up, once again and everything. And if I remember correctly, during that special, he had finally, he basically said, look, one time only, I'm going to talk about this and everything. But, as far as my sexual preference goes, like, hey, I love the ladies and everything. And questions like, okay, well, how come you didn't tackle this years prior? And he just felt that it was beneath him. He felt that people were going to talk, and that basically no matter what he did, people were going to continue to spread rumors, misinformation. So it was just, tell you another one from right here in Washington, D.C. and everything. Got to start out here in D.C. Johnny Gill from New Edition. Johnny Gill, that ultimately went out, had a successful solo career in the early 90s. That Johnny Gill, longest time, gay rumors and all of that. By the time they got to his Unsung special, he pretty much was in the same boat. And he admitted, he said, I really should have gotten in front of this many, many years prior as soon as it started, but I just felt so. Jericho definitely is not doing himself any favors. If anything, he's doing himself a disservice by not getting in front of this. Tony Khan as well, to pretty much just let things be as it is right now, to not at least after the scrum, especially how he was poorly received. That was pretty much unanimous, even for the most diehard AEW fan. They did not like the way Tony Khan came off during that serious portion of the scrum. Man, to not even at least provide a better, well structured update on that whole situation. Look, we're aware of this information that has circulated online, and we are definitely investigating this, and that's all that we can really say right now. That's all that we're really going to offer as far as a comment right now. But if anything turns up, rest assured we will definitely, issue some type of a formal statement, right? But no, we didn't even get that. So, but I will give Tony Khan and crew credit where credit is given. They made sure that Chris Jericho was not on this episode of Dynamite. As you all recall, when we were doing the Monday night show, I had implored for Tony Khan to just pick up the phone, call Jericho, say, look, go ahead, enjoy the remaining holidays with your family, take a few weeks off, and we need to let this die down and everything. We'll bring you back in a little bit. What's the hurry? Like, seriously, you really don't need Jericho right now. You really don't. Honestly, at this point, bring him back when Kenny Omega is at 100% or whatnot, and you could pretty much do it that way. So, is it a case tonight where Jericho was greatly missed? No, and I think considering everything that's going on right now, like, okay, cool. No MJF. No MJF on your show tonight. No problem, as we had Adam Cole and his new, somewhat old familiar entourage. I mean, we got one new member in there in Wardlow, but we found out that Mike Bennett, Matt Taven, Wardlow, Roderick Strong, Adam Cole. We found out the new name of this stable, as they are calling themselves the Undisputed Kingdom. Underdog. Put that on a t-shirt. You can definitely do some really good stuff with Undisputed Kingdom. It's got a nice, I like it. I don't know about you guys. I love the name. I know before it was the Undisputed Elite, and it was okay, but it never really went anywhere, right? It never really went anywhere. But Undisputed Kingdom, okay, sign me up for that. That name actually sounds pretty badass. Now, what I thought was very interesting, and shout out to those of you in the podcasting world, because y'all had better keen eyes than I did. And I was under the impression that Adam Cole was healthy, because I know he had got surgery on both his legs or whatnot. So I thought the man was healthy and he was ready to go again. And I went back and rewatched World's End, because I knew he didn't attack MJF, but I do remember when the lights came back on, Adam Cole was sitting in a chair. So, but I was under the impression that, and I don't know why, that's me jumping the gun. I'll man up to that. But I was under the impression that Adam Cole was 100% healthy, ready to go and everything. Not the case at all, as it was very evident tonight. Adam Cole coming out there, foot still in a boot / cast. Okay. So, I can't help but look at this, right? Take the bitter with the sweet. On the one hand, we've got this story arc, and I get the sentiment from wrestling fans that were disappointed. Excuse me, that were disappointed with the big reveal to be Adam Cole. Like, you have those that feel, now before those of you go, wait a minute, what are they smoking? Like, how the hell was this? Just hear me out. We've got some fans that are going, okay, you know what? For it to be Adam Cole, there's other ways that you could have done it as far as the big reveal. Like, it's fine, but there's other ways you could have gone about it. I know we kind of touched upon that a little bit on the post show. But then you have others that just felt, no, man, you know what? We should have gone in a completely different direction, and it shouldn't have been Adam Cole, especially given the fact that MJF, Adam Cole, better than you, baby. That whole thing, it had a lot of life to it. It was one of the main focal points, carrying the hell out of respectable segments for AEW programming. A lot of life. I mean, that for as far as a lifeline there, life expectancy, definitely better than you, baby. They had so much more surface that they could have scratched, but for whatever respected reason, they didn't go in that direction. And I got to give a shout out to you, the listeners, because you all had shared some really good stuff. Shout out to, let me see if I can find his comment here. Oh, don't tell me he deleted his comment, because I wanted to give this guy some love here. But on the post show, someone had made a really good comment, which was the devil, man, really would have been badass if it would have been Dolph Ziggler. And I had to take a step back and really think about that and just, like you would have had I think, a challenging time explaining Dolph Ziggler as the devil and all of that, to a certain degree, I think. But you know what? That would have been great, because a lot of us are expecting any day now for Dolph Ziggler to pop up in AEW. So what better way to have Dolph Ziggler pop up than by having him be the devil? I think that would have been very, very, very interesting. Hang on here. I'm just trying to see if I can find that damn, because I like giving props. Let me see if I can find his comment now. I just like shouting people out. James Smile, shout out to him, because he said, to be honest, I really thought they would push Ziggler as the devil. So I took a step back and I said, it's actually that would have worked. That definitely would have worked. Hell, I would have been fine if the devil would have been Samoa Joe after all of this. I would have been fine if it would have been him. But yeah, it was a little bit rough around the edges for the big reveal to be. I mean, but come on, we're trying to. That's like far too sophisticated. Y'all should know this by now. And if you don't, foolish you. But that's too sophisticated, and it makes too much damn sense based off what we've seen from AEW these past 5 years now. Yeah, they're not gonna string a really good story arc together like that damn good. No, this was pretty much on par with how we thought everything was gonna go down as far as Adam Cole, big reveal, and all that. So, it is what it is. But of course, the $1,000,000 question: why, oh why, Adam Cole? Why did you do what you did here? So, I tell you what. Some of the information that was given, it helped you out a little bit. I took some notes here. One of the things that Adam Cole had touched upon was, look, when it's all said and done, MJF would have done it to me sooner or later. So I just pretty much beat the man to the punch. For real. Right? So you hear that and you're going, well, he's got a point there. And, we have seen the two of them in the previous months. It's kind of teasing they were going to attack one another, and just seemed like it didn't go down. Another thing that Cole brought up is the fact that he sacrificed so much within that friendship. So he does admit that at one point the friendship was real, but that he really started to turn a corner when he realized that, man, I'm doing so much for this team, for this friendship, and MJF, for all intents and purposes, he's not putting in that same percentage as I am. Hell, I'm injured. And the only thing that MJF can give a damn about is himself. Now you can poke some holes at that, because you can go, well, not for nothing, but MJF did have his hands full with the World Heavyweight title. He did have his hands full with the tag titles, and he did try to hang out with Adam Cole a little bit here and there when he could, but right. And it also doesn't make sense from this standpoint, which is Roderick Strong in them. Like MJF was trying, but we have Roderick Strong and crew kind of cock blocking him a little bit, so to speak. So you could definitely poke some holes and go, some of this doesn't quite make any sense whatsoever. Another thing that Cole took great, great pride in mentioning to the fans, and it really is a case of how soon we forget, is the fact that the fans didn't give a damn about MJF. They hated the man's guts to his point, and that it was because of him joining forces, pairing up with MJF, did fans start giving a damn about MJF. That's one of those, okay, you know what? Can't really dispute that. Cole saving MJF's title reign a couple of times, and how fitting it was that in the end it was him that pretty much orchestrated the demise of MJF's title reign. So a lot of stuff that was being put into this, you're listening to it from a storyline standpoint and you're going, okay, all right, this is pretty decent. Went on to talk about how at the beginning it was all about the title. Then it turned into something much more, that it morphed into, no, this needs to be about destroying this man at his core. And so pretty much befriending him, and right, I mean, that is the greatest revenge that you can pretty much get on someone, right? Especially if you're trying to destroy them and everything, is cozy on up to them and everything, really get them to lower their guard down. And it's so interesting. And it's funny that we're here tonight in this moment on the show, because I've been binge watching old episodes of Law and Order Criminal Intent again. I'm a huge Vincent D'Onofrio fan, and I'm just hoping that Dick Wolf, executive producer, creator of all the Law and Order shows, I'm just hoping that Criminal Intent will come back, because, as many of us know, Vincent D'Onofrio, back in the heyday, that series was really messing with him health-wise, which is why they brought in Chris Noth and then eventually Jeff Goldblum. And it wasn't even Vincent D'Onofrio's decision, if you guys recall, when it came to season 9. It wasn't Vincent D'Onofrio's decision to walk away from the series. It was just, we got Jeff. We can just go all in on Jeff Goldblum. We don't need Vincent D'Onofrio anymore. And even Jeff Goldblum said to them, I am totally against that. When you think Criminal Intent, you think Vincent D'Onofrio. This is a serious, hard 180 of an adjustment for fans. Like, this wouldn't be, and we saw how that all played out. But the final season, the 10th season, Vincent D'Onofrio, Catherine Irby, they came back. It was an 8-episode arc. Here's how this links back to MJF and Adam Cole. During that final season, Vincent D'Onofrio's character, Detective Bobby Gorn, as part of being back on the job, being back on the force, he had to see a counselor. And, during these episodes, we would see these intimate moments, and Bobby is basically explaining to his therapist he has trust issues, right? And he finds it very difficult to get close to somebody, because when he least expects it, there's some form of disappointment that always comes. So I literally was watching the final episode again last night, right? And so here we are, we're hearing Adam Cole's explanation for why he did what he did to MJF, and how he was getting the man to lower his guard down, and everything that we've known about the MJF character that MJF has put out there for us to hear about his trust issues and why he is the way he is. and that he was trying to become a different person, right? He's still the same scumbag, but he's the people scumbag now. But, he was trying to warm up to the idea of having a friend or two or three and all that, right? And now you can almost make an argument that, well, MJF is justified for acting the way that he was acting all this time before Cole stepped into the picture. It's just funny how everything just comes back full circle and everything. So for Cole, this was all about ripping the man's heart and bringing him to his knees at the same time. Also, chants of a lot of fun chants towards Adam Cole, especially about MJF. And Cole said to the crowd, look, MJF is dead, but the Undisputed Kingdom isn't. They've got one main agenda right now, and that is to win championship gold. So, look, we've already got, who is it? Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. They've already got, the ROH tag titles. Roderick Strong probably going to get the AEW Intercontinental Championship. Wardlow is going to be gunning for the AEW World Heavyweight title. And then we had Adam Cole say, once he is fully healed and he's ready to go for the AEW World title, Wardlow will do the right thing and forfeit the title to him. And I love how they got a close-up on Wardlow as his arms are crossed and he's just going, sure, nodding his head. Yeah, exactly how it's going to go down. Yeah. It's just one of those, I'm kind of having a hard time believing that. There's no way we're going to get a finger poke of doom revival. We can pretty much forget about that. Cole having some parting words there for Samoa Joe, thanking him for the arrangements that they were able to make and everything. Happy that he could be of assistance to Samoa Joe, but also gave a little bit of a cautionary tale there to Samoa Joe as well, as he said something along the lines of, I'm looking at my notes here. He says that he hopes by the time Wardlow is ready to challenge, he hopes Joe will not be champion because it would really suck to hurt a friend. Self-esteem is built on action, and they took that action, and they were sick and tired of waiting for things to change because AEW greatly needed that change. Fans may not agree with what the Undisputed Kingdom has done, hell, but in due time, the fans, much like the roster, even Tony Khan, will all come to appreciate what the UK, Undisputed Kingdom, has done for AEW as a whole going forward. So, look, I thought when it's all said and done, in order to try to get the championship off of MJF and everything, good move, great timing and everything. It's just unfortunate that the man is beat up and pretty much burned out. I do legit believe all of that. I do believe he needs some time away. But look, as far as I'm concerned, the MJF babyface turn, whatever you want to call it, it had pretty much reached its peak. It been reached its peak. You can make an argument that, nah, man, you know what? Maybe about 3-4 months ago, this should have been it. And look, not for nothing, but I would imagine that when the injury had went down with Adam Cole, whatever was initially planned, I would like to think that they had to go back to the drawing board, and they probably hit a little bit of a stalemate for a few weeks there and trying to figure out, okay, well, where do we go next? That'll make a little bit more sense. Like, what do we do here? So something to, definitely have in the back of your mind as you're hearing all of how this had played out. Switchblade, Jay White comes out. He respects the hustle that Adam Cole and Undisputed Kingdom had there in taking out MJF. Gives them props for their plan, but did not appreciate the fact that he pretty much was made a puppet, a punching bag, per se, as part of their quest to get the championship off of MJF. So he's got some serious issue with that. He's not the only one. As the guns come out, they're trying to go in there, extract a little bit of revenge. Seemed to be a little bit evened up. UK getting the advantage for a hot little bit. Then the Acclaimed come out. Daddy Ass, Billy Gunn. I don't know why I keep calling them Daddy Ass. I mean, seriously. The older I get, certain things just sound funny to me. Badass Billy Gunn. How about that? Max Caster and Anthony Bowens coming out there, pretty much clearing house. So it looks like what do they call themselves? Bullet Club Gold? Yeah. It looks like these guys and the Acclaimed are going to, at least for the time being, put their differences to the side and join forces here to really try and stick it to the United Kingdom. So I'm down with that. I'm down with that. All things considered, this is a very nice development. We kick things off with Samoa Joe right before that, too. Samoa Joe basically welcoming us to the Terror Dome, right? Nothing but pain is going to be coming from here on out for everybody here. But no, it was a really good scathing promo. Basically, Joe was saying, you try to step up to the plate, I'm going to kill you. Right? Joe's going to kill you. I mean, that basically was it, because he pretty much said he is going to have a death grip over that championship. He welcomes all newcomers. They can try. He'll be waiting, but yeah, Joe out. AEW Intercontinental Championship match. Orange Cassidy defending against Dante Martin. Cassidy picking up the win, about 15 minutes. Decent opener. Decent opener for what it was worth. Post-match, Cassidy shaking hands with Dante. Next thing you know, we hear the music of Private Party. Mark Quinn is back. They took the time out to reintroduce themselves and talk about how the tag team division has been struggling in their estimation as of late, and that it's missing some flavor. It's missing a little excitement. Snap into a Slim Jim. Oh, yeah. I wish. But the crowd, very, very receptive to Private Party, right down to the point they even gave them a welcome back chant. So Private Party putting all the tag teams on notice, from FTR, House of Black, even the Hardy Boys, saying, look, we got one agenda only, and that is, in this new year, we're looking to become new tag champs. So looking forward to seeing those guys. I love me some Private Party. I do. I love me some Private Party. Honestly, Isaiah Cassidy, I never did feel that the whole thing with the Hardys, and I can't remember his name before Isaiah Cassidy, because it was something else, and I'm just going, no, what are we doing with this guy? Like, no, like seriously. House of Black coming from out of that World's End pay-per-view. They officially went on record to accept the challenge from FTR. So they're going to be throwing it down this Saturday on Collision. It's going to be in North Carolina, where House of Black is promising to embarrass the hell out of FTR in front of their friends and family. Mariah May making her in-ring debut against Queen Amanada, picking up a win there. Here's the thing. It was a decent match, decent in-ring debut for Mariah May, but for a match that was only, I would say, 5 minutes and some change, a large portion of it was interrupted with a commercial break. So not much really for you to see here. But still a decent debut. Nothing to really write home about and all that, but a decent debut. Renee Paquette entering the ring, getting comments from Mariah May on her in-ring debut. And she talked about how she hoped Tony Storm was watching, even though we know Tony Storm wasn't watching, because Tony Storm decided, I don't want to be in New Jersey. I'm going to go to New York, because I'm going to go to this restaurant and I'm going to go do, right? So, safe to say, she didn't watch this in-ring debut and all that. But Mariah May talked about how all she's ever wanted to do since she was a little girl was be a wrestler, and how everything has come so surreal for her now. It's just an amazing experience, and she hopes that Tony Storm was watching and is proud She said that she only has one regret, though, and that regret is she wishes that she didn't have to do her in-ring debut match in New Jersey. And this got a nice little reaction from the crowd. But wait a minute. We hear this familiar music play in the PA system. And the next thing you know, we see the virtuoso herself, Deonna Purrazzo, and looking as good as ever, as last as I remember her and everything. She pretty much enters the ring, ignores the hell out of Mariah May as she's just showboating and everything. And I loved it. She came out there almost like a proud peacock, just ignoring the other peacocks in the ring. I loved it. It was a nice touch. Renee Paquette taking the time to introduce the virtuosa as Deonna got a nice chant from the crowd. And she told Renee, hey, I'm from right here in New Jersey. They got a nice pop from the crowd. And that if Tony Storm doesn't want to be there, then you know what? That's fine, because as far as she and the rest of New Jersey is concerned, they don't want her. So, a nice little thing right there. Also, Deonna had a message for Tony Storm that she wanted for Mariah May to deliver, which was, hey, she really doesn't have anywhere to run or hide. She is going to find her because she's now all elite and they are officially in the age of virtuosa. Mariah says she isn't the messenger and that she can go tell her herself. Bitch! Okay? So, I'll be... What is going... Can you guys explain this to me? Seriously, I got a serious question. Why is it that, like, every single time I turn around and I'm looking in AEW, we always got to go with the B word. Seriously, we always got to go with the B word. Like, is that like, what's going on with that? We always got to go with the B word in AEW. Come on, give that a rest already. Christian Cage and his family chilling and everything. Tony Schiavone tries to call him the second champ, the two-time TNT champion and all that. And I loved how Christian Cage just glossed over the fact that, well, hey, he got some help from Killswitch Luchasaurus. And not to mention, his reign did get interrupted there because Adam Copeland did win the championship. Obviously it went back to him in the same night and all that. And I liked how Schiavone tried to bring up that fact, but Cage not having any of it. Here's a name, and I want you guys to entertain this name and let me know what you all think about this, because I did not see anybody bringing up this name. But going back to AEW Worlds End for a moment, let's just say Edge Adam Copeland wins the TNT championship. That's it, right? How would you all have felt if the devil was revealed to be Christian Cage? I don't know about you guys, but considering how clutch Christian Cage had been in 2023 for AEW, I mean, when you really needed a main antagonist, Cage stepped up to the plate and he was just hitting home runs left and right. How interesting do you think that would have been if Christian Cage would have been the devil? I just feel that would have made so... Oh my God, they could have made that easily work. They could have easily make that work. And I would have just loved to have seen on tonight's show, Christian Cage, hey, Samoa Joe, you're welcome. And, per the arrangement, when I'm ready, I'll cash in that opportunity. Thank you. That just would have been so damn interesting, man. Seriously, it would have been interesting. Let me know what you think about that. Let me know what you think about the idea of that. Because I was playing around with that. Oh, when was I playing around with that? I think I was playing around with the idea Sunday going into Monday. So basically, after I was done watching the pay-per-view and we did the pay-per-view post-show, I was playing around with that, pretty much going into late night Monday. I think that might have been definitely more intriguing than what's going on here with the Undisputed Kingdom. Because when it's all said and done, sadly, Adam Cole, he can't do anything right now. And I doubt he's faking it, because otherwise they would have just had him attack MJF. You can't help but wonder how much longer he's going to be on the injured reserve list when it's all said and done. So Christian Cage not really spewing a whole lot of anything out there. I know Killswitch Luchasaurus had got the rounding ovation, a lot of chance for him, because they pretty much, the fans, they're letting Killswitch Luchasaurus know, hey man, Christian Cage ain't freaking giving you no respect. You're the reason why Cage became a 2-time TNT champ. Where's the respect? Seriously. And Luchasaurus doesn't do anything, but he's selling the emotion. He is definitely, even though he's wearing a mask, the way he is gesturing with his body, he's letting it be known. He's not feeling what Christian Cage is saying. Because, right down to the point, Christian Cage is pretty much doing an award tour speech and never mentions Killswitch. So, look, I like what is continuing to develop here with Killswitch. That is going to be so damn sweet when he finally just goes, F this, F you, dude. I am so done, right? I'm looking forward to it. They can take their time. Nice slow burn cooker. I'm down with that. But that pretty much was that segment, as they ended it saying they run AEW. They're the new faces now and forever. Pulling a little WWE joint. Takesha taking on Darby Allin. Takesha picking up the win. It's almost a 14-minute match. This was pretty good. This was actually the main highlight of the night, besides the main event, I personally feel. So if you have this on your DVR, I would say of the matches, you want to check this one out, and then you want to watch the main event match between Swerve Strickland and Daniel Garcia. Trent Beretta taking on Brian Cage, taking on Vikingo, taking on Brian Keith. This was a match to figure out who was going to be Eddie Kingston's first challenger for his Triple Crown Championship. Try saying that 10 times fast. Trent Beretta picking up the win. Look, Trent versus Eddie. That should be a fun match. But this 4-way match itself that went down tonight, pretty average. None really, something that you would typically see on an episode of Rampage, quite honestly. Main event match, Swerve Strickland taking on Daniel Garcia. Swerve picking up the win. Fantastic main event match. Right guy going over, especially with Swerve cutting the promo earlier in the night, thinking he was going to be having some choice words to say about MJF, but given how everything went down at the pay-per-view, MJF is totally gone. So now Swerve is focusing his attention on Samoa Joe. Even Swerve jumped out there and I find that so funny because, look, I know other podcasters, a lot of love. They have been given a lot of love to Swerve and everything. But if you listen to my Monday night show, I said, Swerve, World Heavyweight Champion. And I told you exactly when I felt the trigger would be pulled on Samoa Joe. I didn't just say, Swerve Strickland. I didn't just say Swerve Strickland needs to be the AEW champion in 2024. I said specifically when I expected to go down and everything. But this was some good stuff right here, man. Daniel Garcia just continuing to come so close in those clutch moments, man. But heartache this guy keeps getting. Post-match, pretty badass. Swerve actually extends his hand. Daniel Garcia was about to shake it when Prince Nana comes from behind, gives him a low blow, and then they start beating the crap out of him. Next thing you know, Hangman Adam Page comes out, and him and Swerve, they just start swinging. Hangman Page, very pissed off. We saw him earlier in the night because he's not a fan of what went down with Adam Cole and the Undisputed Kingdom, and he promised that he was going to be whooping somebody's ass tonight. Well, unfortunately, it would be Swerve Strickland. So they pretty much brawled to end this episode. Wrestling wise, I would say of the main matches that I highlighted that you guys should go out of your way and check out. For those of you that haven't watched Dynamite, I mean, quality wise, pretty damn good. Especially Darby and Takesha. Now that I'm thinking about it, Darby and Takesha was a pretty damn good match. I really did enjoy that. But a nice good start to the year for AEW, all things considered. With this first edition of Dynamite that they're putting out, I thought it was good. Good stuff right here. So, well enjoyable episode. 2 hours flew by very quickly. I felt that as far as the tone that AEW was trying to set, it was a great tone considering they were coming out of the AEW Continental Classic. Okay. So I like that. I like that. So you've already also at the same time, and what you accomplished on this episode, you've set it up so that, hey, as far as AEW is concerned, you've seen the last of MJF. He is dead. He's gone. He's buried forever. So you've got that notion out there. You've got Undisputed Kingdom calling their shots as they're looking to collect all the gold. You've got Deonna Purrazzo making her debut. Private Party returning. I mean, some really good developments that you've got going on here. I'm not sure exactly how I feel about Wardlow being involved with this stable. I'm really not sure how I feel about that because I've looked at Wardlow. He's got a great size. He's got a great look. And, you know, we're burying this guy deep in the Undisputed Kingdom. And I'm just not sure if that's a wise move. Because to me, that just really comes off like, okay, powers that be aren't really sure how to properly utilize this big man. You know, it's almost as if, there can really only be one. Actually, no, it's not even coming off that way. It's just when you really stop and think about it, you see the bad track record of AEW when it comes to utilization of the big men. And it's just sucked all across the board. It really, really has. Now, despite that, I'm still hoping and anticipating that Powerhouse Hobbs will have one hell of a breakout singles year in the company here. So, interesting. Money's talking. Money's talking to me. Hang on a second here. I like money. I mean, who doesn't like money? What's going on here? Well, I guess that'll work. Hang on here. Oh, my God. Yeah, dude, we don't promote music. Sorry about that, guys. I got to take care of this real quick. We don't promote music. Hang on here. I hate when people do this. Let me see here. Give me a second. Give me a second here. Because this is money talking. And continue. And see here. We do not promote music. Sorry. And boom, that is it. So I hate when that happens. Anyway, so yeah, good episode when it's all said and done. I was supposed to get into some more wrestling predictions, and I actually had some free time earlier in the day. I was trying to watch the last episode of Impact Wrestling, but it seems that would have involved me going to their Final Resolution pay-per-view joint, because I know that right now as we speak there is not one but two best of TNA 2023. It's like a two-parter, right? And they're both about 90 minutes apiece. So I'm kind of like, I tried to watch it, but I got distracted by some personal business, so I wasn't able to really sit down and check that out. But I definitely will check it out over the weekend because I definitely want to talk a little bit more about Impact. I mean, we already went over the comings and goings for the promotion in 2024. By the way, definitely represent. If you haven't, we did a super deluxe edition of the Monday Night Show that ran 3 hours, 35 minutes long. Now on YouTube, shout out if you watch it via YouTube, I've already put the chapters in there. So as you're watching the video, as long as you hold the fast forward button, you can easily see the chapters pop up and you can just fast forward to the stuff that you want to fast forward to. But then I also went on ahead and released the audio version of it. I think I released the audio version, yeah, earlier this morning. It was actually pretty early this morning. I was pretty wired and I just felt like doing some editing and all that. So check that out. But we'll talk a little bit more about Impact MLW next week. Also, we're going to reveal the wrestling categories for the year-end awards for 2023. I thought I was going to have time to actually sit down today and put the list together, but I got sidetracked doing a whole bunch of other stuff, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, but I'll tell you one thing that was good. One of the things that I had to do today, which I finally was able to do it. Shout out if you're a college student. Man, when it came to FASA, trying to get into that bad boy was a pain in the ass because every time you go on the site, you're ready to fill out that form and it's all grayed out. And they keep giving this message saying that, oh, it's going to be available at short times during the soft launch. And you're like, that makes no sense. You guys said it would be available before or on December 31st, and it's not what's going on. And so you had people on social media that were pretty pissed off about it because, and rightfully so, because when it's all said and done, the sooner that you fill out that information, especially if you're getting ready to start your next round of courses, right? If you're getting ready to start your next round of courses in like a couple of weeks, you want to know that, hey, as far as financial aid goes and coverage for courses, like, hey, good to go. So it was one of those things on social media where people were going, okay, has anybody even actually filled this out? Because it just seems like no. And you had a few people, yeah, I was able to get in there. So I was messing around off and on throughout the day, just checking out the site. Right, just hoping that, okay, is it highlighted finally, or is it still grayed out? And it wasn't until I would say about a half hour before AEW Dynamite came on, I actually was able to go on the site and I was actually able to fill it out. I was like, yay! And I told my wife, I said, hey, I'm so happy I finally was able to. And she's like, oh, that's fantastic. I said, yeah, tell me about it, because she knows I've been on top of this since mid-December. So my best advice for those of you that's been trying to do the same thing, just keep checking throughout. And, honestly, if push comes to shove, if you're a late night owl, try seeing what's up after midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and do it that way. Maybe there won't be as many people trying to get onto the site at the same time and fill out that 2024 to 2025 FASA form. Good luck to you. But hopefully as we get closer to mid-January, definitely before the end of the month, hopefully it'll be a case where don't matter what time of the day or night, you can just go on, fill it out, and then you're good to go. So remember, it really depends. I mean, if you're getting ready to do some courses in a couple of weeks and you're trying to, with the quickness, get approved and all that other stuff, then you want to take care of your business like right now. But I think the deadline to fill that form out, I believe the deadline is June. So double check and see what's up and everything. So some wrestling little news tidbits that we can get into. Also, there is some Q&As from you guys that I need to tackle. I'm starting to get back into ask me anything, wrestling or non-wrestling related. Now, when I say that, that don't mean you go, do you like ice cream? Like, I'm not going to respond to that. right? I'm not going to respond to that. But if you say to me, yo, man, you know, Muhammad Ali versus Mike Tyson, who you got? Okay, I'm definitely going to answer that. Or if you go, hey, what did you think about the newest episode of Raising Canaan? Okay, I'm gonna, but coming and saying, do you like food? Like, I have seen some very like head scratching questions just like that I've just gone, yeah, I'm not answering that. Yeah, suck it. So to that, let's go over some questions. Hey, I apologize if you hear my dogs kind of barking in the hallway. They're so used to being close to daddy that really is the youngest one. She don't know what to do with herself, but I'm not letting her back in because, man, is she smart. She is smart. She is like able to figure little stuff out and everything. And I've got something hidden behind the wall here. It's a booby trap basically that catches ants and all kinds of stuff, and she discovered it, so she's been trying to get back there ever since. So that's why, if you noticed earlier, I had gave them the escort out. You can bark all you want, you ain't getting in here. Get, tell you that right now, you ain't getting in here. All right. So if you guys want to send me some questions, you can post something in the chat, or what I'm starting to do now once a week is I post a thread on the YouTube channel. Just click on the community section, or I have the NGL link back up and running again. It never left. I just stopped promoting it when it was all said and done. But I'm bringing that back into full effect. I thought it was nice to experiment with for some weeks there. Then it was just kind of one of those, okay, let's evaluate it when, I get a free moment, maybe towards the end of the year, and see what's up. Is that something I want to have come back into regular rotation? And it was a case of, yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead. Let's put it back in rotation. Sure, what the hell? But you can also send your question to ngl.link/the RCWR show. Make sure you put the THE in there. All right, so let's get in here. What song do you listen to most often? This is going to sound like, come on, Lee. It's going to sound like one of those kind of answers, but it's the God's to honest truth. It depends on my mood. It really depends on my mood, because I can easily be in a Marvin Gaye mood and I'll maybe turn on the What's Going On album, which is kind of cool because quick sidebar, me and the wifey have been talking, and I said to her, because I wanted to pick her brain, I said, what do you think I should get for my next tattoo? And she's going, damn, you ain't even finished getting your detailed work done on your first one. Like, you're already thinking about the next. I said, yeah, I am actually, because I don't think I said it here on the show. Maybe I did, but eventually what I want to do, I want to get this entire right arm covered. It'd be like a whole sleeve thing that I'm picturing that would go all the way up, definitely cover the shoulder, maybe a little bit of the back as well, maybe just a tiny bit of the back. It really depends, but that's what's ultimately going to happen with that arm. And I told her, I said, one of the things I'm thinking about is somehow incorporating Marvin Gaye on my arm. And she was like, like, all things considered, yeah, you mean you are a big Marvin Gaye fan? I said, yeah. And so I started talking about, images and all that. But then I said, you know what? It can be a little bit tricky when you're trying to, capture somebody's likeliness on your body. And then you got to also think about, as you age, as your skin ages, and right, like a mofo needs to be able to look at your tattoo and go, that's like instantly, right? They, unless it's a person that's not really familiar with all things pop culture and things of that nature, then, they're not gonna, right? But like, for instance, ever since I got my Malcolm X tattoo, like 99.9% of the people that look at my arm, they go, cool Malcolm X tattoo. I'll either get cool Malcolm X tattoo or Malcolm X. And as soon as they say it like that, Malcolm X, I know exactly what they're talking about. And I go, yeah, yeah. It's like, and I say, yeah, it's not done yet, but they go, oh no, no, that's cool. It actually looks pretty cool. Like, can't wait to see how it looks, fully completed and all that. So the 1%, is usually folks that they're not into tattoos. They're not into, like I said, pulp culture and all that stuff. But I was thinking about as far as what to get next, and this is actually answering the question. It may sound long-winded, but it's actually answering the question. Next tattoo that I'm gonna get is just text, and it's gonna say "What's going on," because that's like one of my all-time favorite albums. Anybody that has followed me on social media, years upon years upon years upon years upon years, I have always, and I continue to say, as far as all-time greatest albums, Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On," great freaking album. You can play that from beginning to end. Just the story, that everything that has gone into that record, the production, everything, just it's a magnificent masterpiece that still holds up all these years later. What is it like now? What, 50 something years, like 50 years later or whatever? Like, it's amazing. It's freaking amazing. But yeah, I was thinking about having "What's Going On" tattooed on my forearm at some point. I don't know if I'm going to have it be cursive or Japanese font, or I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure yet. But I know that's one of the things that I'm going to do. But it really depends on my mood. As far as music goes, it really, really does. Because then other times I will be in a rock mode. Yeah, yeah, I really don't have one song. Let me make sure I'm reading that question right. What song do I listen to most often? Yeah, I really, really don't have a particular song. Most times I will just go on my Spotify, driving to and from work, listening during my shift. I'll listen to a R&B mix that basically I was able to make by, liking certain songs, and pretty much AI is picking me up that way, and that's how my playlist is consistent. So like right now, I've got an R&B mix. I've got some Ralph Tresvant. I got Kim. I got The Deal, Teddy Pendergrass, The Gap Band, Mint Condition, Patrice Rushin, The Stylistics, Average White Band, Jill Scott, Al Green, Maze featuring freaking Beverly, Stevie Wonder, Sade, Surface, Luther Vandross, Al B. Shore, DeBarge, Cameo, Spinners, Luther Vandross, Stylistics, David Ruffin, Shaka Khan, Lou Rawls, Rose Royce, Dionne Warwick, Anita Baker, The Emotions, Maxwell, Blue Magic, Otis Redding, Soul for Real, right? So I got that. So it just really depends. I probably am imagining that's not the answer that you wanted to hear, but it really depends on my mood. I know recently there was a Spotify Unwrapped joint for 2023, and that was kind of cool to see how all that was broken down. I don't even think Spotify this past year was able to tell me definitively what was the one song that I kept listening to the most. Let me see here. Hang on. Yeah, hang on. Let me see here. 2023 Spotify Wrapped. See, top songs. Here we go. Hang on. Made for You. What's this one here? Yeah. Yeah. I don't even have a definitive one song, so I try to answer the question. I try to do my best. Hopefully that'll suffice. All right, let's see what else we got here. This one had came in a couple of months ago, but me and Tams haven't had an opportunity to sit down and actually do an episode of Wrestling with the Topics. By the way, once again, shout out to my man Thomas Gonzalez, who did a phenomenal job. It was actually when we did that edition of Wrestling with the Topics several weeks ago, it was part of a project. It was part of a class project. And I think I told him, I said, yo, this sounds so damn good. I'm actually going to go ahead and release this in the public feeds and all that. And if you don't mind, he was like, oh, sure, go for it. And I told him, I said, maybe we can do this again sometime. And I even told him, I said, look, stay in touch, because he's a big wrestling fan. He's a huge wrestling fan. So anytime me and him would cross paths in the hallway or whatever in between classes, like we were always talking about wrestling. So, and it's so nice to be able to listen to younger wrestling fans' takes on what's happening in the wrestling business. He's not too gun ho on the wrestling news sites and all that. He's kind of one of those. I'm mainly just watching the shows. I don't really care what the dirt sheets and stuff got to say. Anything that's going to happen, I want to be surprised, right? He's kind of old school like that. But this one wrestling question that I had got was meant for me and Tams, which was, have we been to any wrestling events together? Anybody that's truly been a long time listener knows that myself and Tammy have been to a couple of wrestling events as a couple since we've been together. But in the later years, there has been some events that I've gone solo. I still remember the one year where we both had went to the WWE Raw event. It was the last Raw before WrestleMania, where Paul Heyman and CM Punk, they pulled a fast one on The Undertaker. Paul Heyman came out dressed up as Paul Bear, just really messing with the psyche there of The Undertaker. We had a great moment. We took a lot of cool pictures and everything. As a matter of fact, if you go on the Facebook podcast page, you can actually find the album of WWE events that we went to from over the years and go that way. I tell you this much, we've already began talking about going back to WWE events once they are around our neck of the woods, because we really like what's going on. We really like what's going on. The roster is just, it's top heavy as, right? I mean, I know I keep saying that, but it's the truth. The roster is top heavy as right now. So we're definitely going to be going back to more wrestling events in the future, particularly WWE events. I at this point, I would rather go to WWE events, check out a TNA show, or even support my local indie wrestling fed than go to an AEW show. Nothing personal against AEW fans, because it's nothing but love, but just I've seen enough stories out there from fans that have gone, and the experiences has just been, yeah, I'm not gonna do that again. Like, it would have to do a serious makeover from the merchandise standpoint, for starters, and some other things before I even entertain going to AEW event. I'm just being totally honest. Let's see. This was a really weird comment. It wasn't a question. It was a comment, which was, we should be closer friends. I'm going to assume this is a real question and this isn't something that everybody gets. But to the person that had put this out there, the best advice I can give is, if you are able to slide into my DMs and reveal who you are that posted this, I mean, that's definitely a great start on trying to become friends, close friends. I mean, you got an interesting goal there. You want to be we should be closer friends. So we're already friends. We're just not closer. Is what you're saying, or you just wish we had a better camaraderie amongst the two of us. Maybe that's what you mean. I think that's what you're going for. But no, it's not that hard. I mean, honestly, slide into my DMs, email me, or just don't be a creep about it. You feel where I'm coming from? Just don't be a creep about it, because some people get really, really weird. I tell you. This next one, it's weird because the two of them pretty much had came in 20 hours apart, but they were asking the same thing. One was one friend you're thankful for. And then the other one was, who's the friend that supports you the most? So I thought that was kind of interesting, because it does kind of seem very similar there. So let me tackle the latter. Who's the friend that supports you the most? I would say my wife. My wife is not only she's not only my best friend, she is my true confidant. She is my right hand in this crazy thing called life. And anytime I need guidance, whether it's spiritual, emotional, intellectual, professional, she is always there as a sound pad for me, as a sound launching pad, just as I'm there for her. Uh, but she is the one that, and you know what? Extremely, extremely, extremely rare. We've been together now almost 15 years. Extremely rare she is wrong about something. Like I could almost count off the top of just one hand, and I'm not even at five instances where, like, I'm probably at maybe a two or three instances where she got that one wrong. But like, anytime I need some type of support, she's always there for me, and I greatly appreciate that. I greatly appreciate that. Right down to the point, I remember, uh, it's a ritual that we do every Christmas. One of the first things that we do is we exchange holiday cards, with some really nice sentiments and all that. We do that, and then we present each other with little stocking stuffers, and then start exchanging gifts and everything. And the card that I had selected for her this year, pretty much had touched upon, hey, I know I don't really say it enough, but I greatly appreciate everything that you do for us. I appreciate the fact that, anytime I need some type of advice, just, you're always there. I love you for that and more. It was a very, it was a really cool card that I had picked up, but all the stuff that I'm saying, I wrote that. Like, what was said in the card, I didn't even need to write anything. Which, that card, fun story in itself, because I went out Christmas Eve, Christmas Eve, trying to find a card. I went to Hallmark, and I went in there. Everything was raided. I mean, the shelves were just totally empty. And I come across this other guy, and I just came around the corner, and I just said, well, goddamn. And he goes, yeah, they put a number over here. I said, apparently. And so I'm looking in the section there, holiday cards, wife section, and he's like, hey, they got some over here too, man. I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, let me see. And as I told my wife, I said, and she was pretty impressed when I told her this, I said, my streak continues, because every single holiday year, I have been able to find the best card that embodies everything that went down that whole year with me and the wife. I mean, it just beautifully captures it, the emotions and all that in a nutshell. And I'm usually able to find that card within my first two attempts of looking at a card. So, like, usually the first card I pick up, that's it. But what I will typically do is I'll hold on to that first card, and I usually try to see if I can find a second card, but like once I pick up that first card, that's it. Once I pick up that first card, that's it. There is no. Well, the second one seems pretty. It's been extremely rare, so my streak it like is still intact. But I bet you now that I'm putting that out there, I bet you I'm gonna jinx myself probably this year. We'll see. We'll see. But my wife for sure. I love her very much. Best part about me, seriously, made me a better individual, just all the way around, better individual. In regards to one friend that I'm thankful for, and this would probably make him blush big time, but one friend that I'm thankful for, honestly, I would say my boy, Mish Thomas from Wrestling Soup. I would say I'm very thankful for him, not just from a friend standpoint, definitely from a colleague standpoint. You know, much like with Tams, Mish has been very good, very kind to me off and on over the years. Where if I had some type of a tech issue or I was thinking about something business wise, I'd pick his brain a little bit. We'd swap some stories and swap some ideas. And, now it's kind of gotten to the point where, I know what I need to do. Like I have the ability, I know what I need to do. Just believe in myself. Just do it already and everything. But I would say Mish is definitely the one friend that I'm thankful for. Um, Great dude. I mean, just real chill, very laid back, fun dude. And I still remember one of the first times I began talking to him, and this one show that we had did together. He was a guest on the show. We were talking about some Chicago stories and all that, and we had so much in common. We have so much in common. It's kind of one of those. Maybe we ran into each other before I left Chicago. It's kind of one of those type of deals. He's like, you just don't know. But Mish is a good dude. Mish is a good dude. Um, Very, very talented at what he does. Truly one of the best. Wears his heart on his sleeve. And sometimes, and I've said this to him, he knows how I feel about this, but I feel that, sometimes Mish can be too giving. He can be too caring. And he can give a lot and gets very little back. And, some people I kind of get the vibe they're trying to take advantage of him for his kindness. But I will say in later years, Mish has done a better job in putting his foot down, but also being nice about it when he doesn't, feel the zone and wanting to do X, Y, Z. But yeah, I would say he's definitely the one friend I'm thankful for. Let's see what else we got here. I think Rick had sent a question in here as well. So let's see what we got here. It was something gaming related. That much I do remember. So hang on here. Let's pull this up. As you can hear my youngest puppy still fussing in the background. Rick wants to know, have I played SF6? What is that? Street Fighter? You should. It's different. The World Tour. It's like a quest meets story mode. So I'm assuming he's talking about Street Fighter 6. So let me just, first of all, let me type in SF6. Let's see, SF6. See what this is. Boy, my littlest one really wants to get in here. I don't know. I might let her in. I don't know. Street Fighter 6. So it looks like he's talking about Street Fighter 6. Yeah, I got to be honest with you. My hands, they're still very good. I can still make clutch fists and all of that good stuff. But I have personally found that as I've gotten older, certain game franchises I have just aged out. And Street Fighter is definitely one of those. I remember the last time I tried to play a fighting game on the game console. It was Mortal Kombat, not the one where you were able to play with Spawn. Actually, you know what? It wasn't even Mortal Kombat. It was Injustice. Oh, I think it was Injustice 2. I tried to play the mobile version of. I'm sorry, I tried to play the game console version of that because I had such great fun playing the mobile slash tablet version. And man, just all the stuff that I had to do on the game controller. I mean, I just felt physically, my hands, that is, my hands felt burned out, and I'm just going, yeah, no, dog, I'm really, really good. It is very rare I pick up a gaming controller and I play a video game. Now, I told you guys how I just got a Xbox Series X for Christmas, right? I love the fact that I can play my music CDs, I can play DVDs, I can play Blu-ray, I can play UHD joints. I love that I can do all that on the Xbox Series X. I also love the fact that in this day and age where as far as media consumption goes, if I want to go check out the newest game or whatever, I can do so in the privacy of my own home and I can have it digitally. As I've been that way for years now, unless, no, you need to get the physical copy because you get these really cool bonuses. Like every time a 2K game comes out and the arrangement that they have with Supercard, right? And you get the little scanning QR code, unlock a couple of cards for your inventory and get some super coins and all that jazz. Like, hey, I love all that, right? Love that bonus stuff, right? But when I do sit down to play a video game these days, I like playing for me, what's a really good video game is one where I don't have to try to memorize a whole bunch of moves and I got to be doing all this weird crap where I'm jamming buttons and all that other crap. And yeah, I have just completely zoned out on fighting games like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Injustice. I've zoned out on those. These days, I like playing a good racing game. Once in a while, I'll sit down, I'll play a Grand Theft Auto game. Right now, I've got RoboCop Rogue City. I messed around with that for about 5 minutes after I had set up the Xbox, and then I was like, "Oh, I'm tired," and then I took my ass to bed. But I hadn't enjoyed that. It's like a shooter game, like point and shoot, basically, right? Like that. But otherwise, I'm mostly a tablet guy these days, and that might sound boring as hell, but I think those of you, I see the age range of you guys that check out the shows on a regular basis. I think you guys definitely are in that same realm that I'm in, where it's a case where when you're working, and if you're like me, you're working two jobs, you're juggling college full time, you're trying to juggle two podcasts, sometimes three, sometimes four if there's pay-per-views from the rival companies, right? Oh, and then you're also trying to work on audio, video editing, right? Stuff like that. Got to juggle a personal life as well. Sometimes you don't really have, as much free time. You feel where I'm coming from? So, but no, it's one of those cases where these days I'm mostly doing a mobile tablet game. Like these days, I went back to WWE Supercard right before I went back to WWE Supercard right before season 10 had premiered, and that was fun. I've also found myself playing puzzle games. So like there's this one puzzle game that's out. It has nothing to do with Marvel or anything like that. It's just it's a jigsaw puzzle game, right? Oh, here's this dog that's playing in the snow with its owner. Good luck putting this puzzle together. It's 500 pieces or it's 1,000 pieces. Brad knows what I'm talking about. He's like, yeah, those are fun. Like, I'll do that on the tablet. Matter of fact, I had downloaded a puzzle joint the other day, and my wife has saw me messing around with it, and she was like, what is that? And I told her, she goes, oh, well, you did it right to download it for your tablet because you need all the space.
Baby.
You need all the space that you can get to see, what you're able to see. And, it takes up a lot of battery life. So it's actually better to do it on a tablet than a phone. I was like, really? She said, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So that's where I'm at now. That is where I'm at now as a gamer. Like, I've really, really gotta really, really be in the zone to really want to sit down and play something for an extended long period of time, like that. And the last time I had went at it that hard, I would have to say the last trilogy of the Tomb Raider games that came out, and Sekiro, Shadows Never Die. I tried playing it. That game is really, really hard. That kind of goes into the mashup button scheme thing I was talking about earlier, but I mainly was playing it for the storyline because a coworker of mine from many years back, he was like, you got to check that game out. It's really, really badass. And I said, okay, all right, I'll check it out, bet. And sure enough, I did, and I was telling him where I was, and by then this guy's no longer interested in the game because he's apparently moved on. So now I'm like this old fart. It's like, well, F you, man. Like, you spent all this time telling me, because I remember he spent like 3 months telling me, you got to check out Sekiro. You got to check out Sekiro. You got to check out Sekiro. I finally check it out. And, he's no longer interested in talking about it. And I'm like, whatever, dude. Like, whatever. But yeah, that's that. All right. So some wrestling news, little tidbits that we can get into as we get ready to wind down for the evening. Now, don't forget, Thursday night, I thought it was actually going to be on Wednesday, but no, it's actually going to be Thursday, which is fantastic. There's going to be a WWE special 2024 preview, and it's going to be live this Thursday on Peacock. You guys definitely want to check that out, as Triple H is set to make a big announcement on this preview special. Now, some people were under the impression that this was maybe going to have something to do with TNA, because I know TNA had made that deal with Endeavor. And like that right there, I'm just going, wait a minute. And you have to back yourself up when you hear that, because this isn't WWE, that this is Endeavor, which owns WWE, the UFC. These guys freaking bought, they've got this thing going on with TNA Wrestling, and it's interesting because here's where a lot of people are like, well, what's going on here? Because the question is brought up, is WWE and TNA Wrestling starting a working relationship? Because now TNA is calling its monthly specials premium live events. And the first terminology for that was used by WWE. Shout out to the good folks over at comicbook.com. One, Liam Crowley, who wrote this, which is the Forbidden Doors entrance to Stamford, Connecticut has been padlocked shut for decades. Since purchasing WCW and ECW in the early 2000s, WWE embraced its top dog status by presenting itself as the only show in town. Companies like Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling existed and often birthed the careers of talent that would go on to be WWE superstars, but WWE neglected to ever acknowledge their existences. That sounds so weird, hearing existences. Just existence. How about that? This was especially apparent with Total Nonstop Action, an alternative that quickly established itself as the number 2 wrestling company in the world, but remained a great distance away from WWE's throne. Regardless, TNA believed it could rival WWE and began to counter-program the industry leader, moving weekly episodes of TNA Impact to air simultaneously. Okay, yeah, so we're getting the nice little recap. Okay, let's fast forward a little bit here. In a new advertisement for TNA Plus, TNA Wrestling streaming service, it has revealed that TNA pay-per-views are now being called premium live events. That branding is most synonymous with WWE. Yes, we know, as WWE pivoted from labeling its monthly specials away from pay-per-views and to premium live events in January 2022. Right. While this branding shift could be TNA's way of avoiding confusion for its specials costs, it is worth noting that the former Impact Wrestling is working with Endeavor Streaming to relaunch its streaming service. And as we mentioned at the top, same company, that's the parent company for WWE. So this has a lot of people wondering, what exactly, is the future here for TNA here, now that they're going to be doing the TNA Plus under the Endeavor streaming banner. What I'm mostly curious about is in regards to what TNA is currently doing on YouTube with their membership plus content, right? And then what they're also offering on the website. I'm very curious if all of that is going to continue to remain intact, or, no, we need some exclusive stuff here, for the streaming service app, with Endeavor. So no, we're gonna have to yoink that. Maybe you guys can keep this. I'm curious how that's gonna be working, because it was announced in a press release that TNA Wrestling has partnered with Endeavor Streaming to launch TNA Plus, which they're describing as a global and on-demand streaming service. TNA Plus will be available on TNAWrestling.com, iOS, tvOS, and Android mobile apps, and Android TV, Fire TV, and Roku big screen platforms. Described as a multi-year deal, TNA Plus app promises to deliver an enhanced user experience to all fans across the top streaming platforms, as well as mobile and connected devices. Partnership combines TNA's experience as a top professional wrestling promoter with Endeavor Streaming's unparalleled knowledge in delivering innovative direct-to-consumer offerings, marketing tools, analytics. Some good stuff here. Now, some of you guys may be saying, this sounds really, really good, Lee, but let's talk numbers. So the new streaming service will be divided into 4 tiers. Special attraction tier gives subscribers full access to the TNA Impact Wrestling library, as well as all TNA Plus pay-per-view programming, barring the company's Big 4 shows. That tier is offered at $9.99 a month, or $95 a year. The World Championship tier has all of the aforementioned perks, as well as access to the Big 4 shows for $219 a year. This is truly an incredible opportunity for us as we forge into an exciting new chapter of the TNA legacy, said TNA Wrestling President Scott D'Amore. We're proud to partner with Endeavor Streaming on this initiative, and we look forward to continuing to provide our fans with the absolute best and new, classic, and exclusive professional wrestling content available to them anywhere, anytime on their favorite devices when TNA Plus launches on June 5th. So you don't have to wait that long to check this out. I've been playing around with TNA on YouTube as a membership paying customer, and I've basically been going in, checking out whatever pay-per-views I can check out, checking out episodes of Impact Wrestling that I had missed. That's pretty much how I've been doing it. So I was just on there earlier tonight just to see, hey, any announcement, what's going to happen here with the YouTube content. Nothing has been put out yet, so I'm sure that they're still working out all the fine little details and everything. But, if you were to ask me straight up, Lee, you're going to take advantage of that TNA Plus? Not so fast. I'm not going to be jumping on it. I think, honestly, where I'm at right now in regards to what I have with YouTube access. I'm just going to continue to access that way. And then if it becomes a case where honestly, I know like for some of the pay-per-views that some of the pay-per-views, like for instance, Final Resolution, that was streaming live because I remember when it had premiered, I actually had asked some of my buddies in the Discord if they wanted me to load up the pay-per-view because I was under the impression I did not have access to it through my YouTube membership, but I did. And they were like, nah, it's okay. Just going to watch the encore. So I think until some type of an announcement is made, I'm going to continue to rock with my YouTube membership, which I believe I'm paying $4.99 or $5.99 a month. So if I'm really not getting, you feel where I'm coming from? Because it's kind of one of those deals where, well, unless I'm going to be getting a little bit more for that $9.99 a month, basically, you want me to cough up $4 to $5 more per se, then okay, sure, it's a no-brainer. But if it's the same content, then oh yeah, I'm just gonna stay over here until you guys tell me, yeah, that's not happening anymore. You got to go over here to continue to access, right? It's kind of one of those things. We'll see. We'll know. We'll know in a little bit. Just give it a couple of weeks. But this is a huge freaking deal, and I'm very ecstatic for TNA. I know we don't talk about TNA enough, and that's my fault when it's all said and done. That's my fault. But TNA, a lot of people have been sleeping on TNA. Yeah, you can make all the jokes that you want, and yeah, TNA, they're like the cockroach that just you keep hitting it and you lift that shoe up and right, they're still alive basically. But they have been putting out some really, really great content these past couple of years now. They've got one hell of a roster. There's definitely some individuals I'm looking at on that roster going, my God, how can you still be here in TNA? I was expecting you to jump elsewhere a long time ago. Not necessarily the big leagues, but just, man, I was expecting you to maybe go holler at Wow Women of Wrestling, or hey, I was expecting you to go do something with the NWA promotion by now. Like, what the? But they have been on a roll as of late. The attendance, not really that good for some of their shows. Nothing to really, write home about. But being able to get a streaming service deal like this, that is fantastic because I remember for the longest time, I was saying it right here on this show. Look, that thing of a relationship that they have going on with Anthem Entertainment and the fact that they're on Access TV. Well, sadly, Access TV is only available but in so many households, right down to the point you still cannot get here in 2024. You still cannot get Access TV for YouTube TV, for example. And I know for the longest time, in YouTube TV customers can back me up on this, for the longest time, your local CW network was not available. We finally got the CW. Now, I can't speak for others, that maybe live on the West Coast but have YouTube TV, or they live, I can't really speak on your respected neck of the woods, but I know for out here in DC, I have been a YouTube TV subscriber, feels like maybe 3, maybe 4 years now. I bet you my wife, as soon as I see her and I ask her, I bet you she's going to say 5 years, but I'm thinking 3 or 4 years now. And CW, never made available. We didn't finally get the CW network until last year. I want to say it was right before fall. And I was just like, oh, snap, right? Because I remember I would have to pay $5 a week to this one affiliate online just to be able to watch episodes of Wow Women of Wrestling. And it got to a point where I remember sharing that information online. And a lot of the WoW wrestlers and the promotion itself, they would retweet me and say, hey, peep out what Leah's saying here for those of you that's trying to watch WoW. It was some joint. It was legal. Everything was legal. I can't remember the name of the site now because once CW had came to YouTube TV and I was able to watch WoW in syndication as a result, like that was it. I no longer needed to keep paying that $5 for that subscription. And that $5 was just for access for 24 hours. So I could access XYZ. But yeah, it was something for those that live in the military or those that live abroad. Wish I could remember the name of it. If I go back and search my tweets, I'll bring it up again on the next show. But Access TV, not that many households have it. So to put yourself in this position, if you're TNA, that is fantastic because so many of us in this country are on the go, man. We are on the go. I can't tell you how many times when I'm on the go, I'm moving around and either I got YouTube TV playing or I got, I got something playing on Spotify or maybe I'm playing a mobile game. What started off on the tablet, now I'm moving to the phone because I really, really, really need to move around. And I've got my internet on my phone and everything. Whereas most tablets these days, it's just connected to, the not the hotspot, but most of our tablets these days, unless we paid the extra to have it have its own respected internet connection, Wi-Fi connection, and all that other stuff. Most people are like, yeah, just get me in front of a good internet connection, and I can look for the signal and connect that way. I'm good to go. I'll be all right. So this is great for TNA. These are all the right things that if you're a TNA fan, this is what you've been wanting to see for quite some time. And I tell you what, if I'm AEW, and I would imagine that before the year is out, AEW, hopefully they'll be able to make their own announcement as far as a streaming service, because that's something that Tony Khan has been wanting for many, many years now. And hopefully, they'll be able to get that. But man, to see that TNA Wrestling is able to do this before AEW, you just can't help but look at AEW and go, come on already, man. Like, but look, on the real, you don't want to do too much too fast. Have you seen the YouTube video that's floating around on the rise and demise of Quizno subs? It came out almost 3 weeks ago. If you haven't watched that video yet, check it out. You'll thank me later. But what was one of the biggest issues for Quiznos as far as its ultimate demise? They expanded way too soon, way too damn soon. And, they started off, God, I can't, if I were to take a crack at the year, and I'm probably going to mess this up, so forgive me in advance. But if I remember right, as of like 1991 or like maybe 95, they had like almost 4,000 locations. And now, as of 2024, they've got probably about 125 locations. So, like, a location has been dropping once a month, every month for X amount of years. It's really ridiculous because it was like this weird stat that was put out, and I just was going, whoa, what the hell, right? If you're AEW, and you don't want to do too much too soon and not be returning a profit, right? As I always say to my wife in the Sanders household, hey, that's great that we paid this and we paid that and this bill was taken care of, but we got to make sure that we're continuing to stay cash flow positive, because all this money that's just going out, we're seeing a lot of red. We got to make sure that we're keeping some of that now. We got to make sure that something's getting ready to come in and it's staying in, right? So speaking of AEW, I know Tony Khan talked about for the video game Fight Forever, they are going to be looking at releasing future downloadable content for a very long time. So it's a great concept to have, honestly. Just put one game out and then just keep rolling out the updates. Make everything pretty much be microtransactions and all that. It's really smart because I know one of the things that was brought up was, hey, look, and I can't believe I'm hearing this, but am I understanding this right? Swerve Strickland is not in the game. Daniel Garcia is not in the game. So to hear that, yeah, there's some money making opportunities there. You definitely want to go ahead and look into that. But no, the concept that they have going on for this game, it's a very smart move. I gotta be honest with you. And you can make whatever stability improvements, visuals. You can do everything that you need to do, all thanks to those microtransactions to continue to keep the game updated. Yeah, I'm down with that. You know what it reminds me of, the concept, and I wouldn't be surprised if Tony Khan used to play the hell out of the game, but it almost reminds me of what is it, DC Universe Online. All those years, even up to now, that game just continues to get some type of support and right, all those microtransactions. Like there's always something new that's happening in DC Universe Online. I remember when that game first came out and how it was a Sony PlayStation exclusive. I was so mad at my friends that were able to play that freaking game. Kind of going back into the video games one more time. And I was so excited when the thing had finally hit Xbox. I was like, yeah. Got bored about 3 months later, and that pretty much was the end of that one. So, all right. But yeah, Deonna Purrazzo, the 3-time Impact Knockouts champion, former Knockouts Tag Team champion. She had been with Impact Wrestling since 2020. Made her debut with AEW tonight. Very ecstatic for the young woman. Still in her 20s, too. Still in her 20s. So she is just barely scratching the surface. I think about when she was involved first couple of times there with the Mae Young Classic. I think about all the feuds that she had down there in NXT. I know she had got a win over Nia Jax very, very early in her career. And then she also started having a series of defeats. Like when you add up the amount of matches that she had during her rodeo in WWE, she had like 16 matches before WWE had released her, and just a big old platter of other WWE talent. And one of the reasons why allegedly Deonna Purrazzo was released was powers that be felt that she wasn't developing as quickly as they wanted for her to develop. And, you hear that and you just go, well, man, I look at some of the talents that's running around today in NXT, and there's certain folks where you're just kind of scratching your head going, why the hell are they on TV, right? Like they shouldn't even, and so leave it to Deonna to go right into she is trying hard to get in here. It's funny. I just hear this little scratching at the door. As long as she's not biting the door. I don't know if she's biting the door once the show is over and I open the door and look. Because, boy, I tell you, the worst kind of dogs to have is when you have them and they're not 6 months yet and they just want to be gnawing at everything. I'm telling you, I got to wear sweatpants when I feed my dogs, because particularly my youngest one, Holly, she will keep jumping up and she'll just be trying to scratch the hell. It's unintentional, but it hurts like hell, because basically she's saying, gimme, 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 gimme. And she keeps messing my legs up. It's like, now you're going to have to wait on that, messing the brother up. But Deonna Purrazzo, I know and shout out to the good folks over at Fightful, they talked about how she had been in negotiations with the AEW promotion and most likely was going to be appearing there. And that as far as WWE goes, there was a little bit of talk, but nothing ever materialize. And I would bet so because of when the WWE sale was going on, any new hires and all of that, everything was just frozen and everything. So, I would imagine so that talks only went but so far with WWE. But I'm actually happy that things worked out and Deonna is with AEW and is testing the waters out there. She's definitely going to be seen on a lot more household televisions. That is for damn sure. I think that as far as the virtuosa character and everything fits very well in AEW. I think she will thrive tremendously in that environment compared to being in WWE, where I honestly feel, even though her in ring ability, I mean, she's got mad swag now and everything. I still feel that if it was a case where she went back to WWE, I feel that she would be right back where she was before. And that's a huge gamble to take. I just don't trust, even with Triple H, Paul Levesque at the helm and everything, I don't quite trust the WWE system would have done right by the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo. So it's all things considered, it's good that she's with AEW. Now, look, I'm hoping that Tony Khan is smart. I know he said from the scrum he's going to be aggressively going at it hard in the free agency market and everything. And I tell you what, as far as wrestling predictions go, I'm looking at the indies, and now more than ever, I need for the indies to really do their do their best. I know easier said than done, but is WWE and AEW, are these promotions hurting the indies? Yeah, they are. They are hurting the indies, unfortunately, because they're yanking up all the great talents left and right. And unfortunately, for a lot of these independent promotions, they're in a position where, man, as far as next man, next woman up, they don't quite have that, unfortunately, and it really, really sucks. It really, really sucks. Especially when all these great independent talents are being yanked up and signing these exclusive deals with AEW or not so much Impact. At least you can say Impact lets their men and women go and play, when they're not being used on television. At least you can say they're being allowed to, but now you look at what's going on with AEW as a result of having the Saturday show, not to mention the Friday show, but mainly the Saturday show in the mix on top of your live Wednesday Dynamites. And, these talents in AEW, they're no longer going over and loaning that name, loaning that likeliness to that independent wrestling promotion. And, it freaking sucks because when you look at the independent ecosystem, the sad part is unless you are just a wrestling fan, aficionado, you're not going to know what's really going on in the independent scene, right? A lot of the people that we grew up on, we first came across them because of the independents and everything. So now it's kind of one of those deals where, what's going on? Quote my Marvin Gaye songs, like, what's going on? And, I would like for the independent scene to really make, and I do feel it is going to happen, that they will make a serious comeback in 2024. I have a feeling that the way a lot of these independent promotions will start to operate, if something happens as far as the talent that they've been relying on for their shows, comes under the radar of a WWE, of a AEW, I have a feeling that as far as marketing, as far as a finder's fee, I wouldn't be surprised if that's not already in effect. I wouldn't be surprised if something of that magnitude, gets amplified even more, where those indie promotions, yeah, hey, look, we understand that you want to do something with this talent of ours here, and we've got them, they're the champion for our promotion, or, we worked out this deal with them where we're paying them blah, blah, blah a week, for X amount of weeks. And, I would imagine that now more than ever, a lot of these indie promotions, you're gonna really make sure that if they're going to be without their favorite talent that is pretty much carrying their promotion, they're going to do a better job in making sure that they are fairly compensated for it and everything. The hell with a shout out on, that episode of Dynamite, or, what have you. Just, like, give us some money so that'll help us out as far as advertising, promoting, marketing. You feel where I'm coming from, guys? So, look for that to happen. I think now more than ever, because the indies, man, it's really sad what's become of the indies. And you don't have to take my word for it. You do not have to take my word for it. Just listen, really listen to those that have either worked or been around the business, and they pretty much are sharing the same things that I'm echoing here on the show. Not to mention, and I got to give this person a shot. And by the way, look, I expect really great big things to happen for Deonna Purrazzo, but I also hope that at the same time, in regards to that free agency market, testing it out that Tony Khan was mentioning, I hope it's also a case where he's very smart about it, right? Because if the reports are true about how much money Mercedes Moné wants, like per year or whatever, if you're Tony Khan, you're going, look, I can take that same amount of money. I can get 5, 6, 7 talents or whatever and still have money left over so I can go do XYZ, right? Get a chopper. Get in the chopper. Whatever, okay? But, you want to talk about how the indies was heard and, and all this other stuff. My mind has constantly been on this one particular wrestler, and I've actually reached out to her a couple of times over the past couple of years, especially when the pandemic had hit and everything. I had reached out to her, see how she was doing and everything, hoping she was doing fine. And she just made her announcement the other day that she has retired from the business, but she wasn't saying something that I didn't already know. It was just a matter of, okay, when are you officially going to make the announcement? And yesterday she had finally made the announcement. And it's a damn shame because I was hoping that she would eventually have that big break. I was hoping that eventually she would do something on a semi-regular basis in WWE, Impact Wrestling, hell, even AEW, right? I thought for sure, maybe we'd see her do something in AEW. I even thought Billy Corgan was maybe going to somehow incorporate her in his new vision of the NWA, and none of that ever came to fruition. And of course, I think the worst thing that could have happened, this is my opinion and my personal opinion, and I know she probably isn't going to agree. She may agree, maybe certain elements of this, but I feel that the worst thing that could have happened to her career was the pandemic. Because it seemed once the pandemic happened, like a lot of us, we weren't sure what was going to happen. We really weren't. Life as we knew it at that point, we weren't sure what the hell was going to happen. And it seemed once things did finally start to get back to normal, she was one of the first names I was looking out for, trying to see as far as, okay, yeah, how about that comeback? What's going on? And sporadically, she did some matches here and there, but it wasn't quite at the same frequency as it was in the previous years. But she officially announced her retirement, my girl Kacee Carlisle. And let me tell you something about Kacee Carlisle. I know I'll make her blush in saying this, but it's the God's to honest truth. First of all, represent here. She's a fellow DC native, okay? Born and raised DC native. Kacee Carlisle, and I'm not just saying this. I'm not being biased right now. I am being sincere when I say this. Truly one of the best independent / free agency in-ring wrestlers out there. On the mic, freaking badass. But the in-ring work, top-notch good. Top-notch good. When I first began entering the crazy world of podcasting, oh man, so many years ago now, she was one of the first people that I had reached out to and, hey, would you be interested in coming on the show? And she was a sweetheart to me. Very, very kind to me. And she was like, yeah, let's do it. And we hit it off so damn good. We hit it off so damn good that I made sure, okay, we gotta do this again. Let's run this again. And I made a friend. I would like to think that, she looked at me as a friend as well. But I definitely looked at her as a friend because in between her matches over the years, I would just message her, find out how she's doing, and and we would go back and forth that way and everything. And I think I might have had her on the show. Oh, I think I might have had her. I would have to check the archives, but I think I've had her on the show 3, maybe 4 times. Always, as far as favorite guests, one of my absolute favorites. Seriously, one of my absolute favorites. I remember each time she would come on the show, I enjoyed her so much that, I remember at one point I was talking with the wifey and I said, yo, man, if she's ever interested in doing the podcasting, I tell you what, I'd love to hook up with her. I think she'd be a damn good co-host. And my girl was like, yeah, she's like, hey, she knows her stuff. I'm like, exactly, But the pandemic, I think, had really, really hindered greatly her tail end of the wrestling career. Because I remember in one of the last conversations I had with her that was on the show. Because before she even released it to the general public, she had gave me an advance copy of her wrestling DVD. Which now is like a collector's item if you stop and think about it. And I remember saying to her, okay, I'll check this out. And she told me, she said, now, Lee, don't be too hard on it now. Don't be too hard on me because this is some real independent stuff that I put together here. This is like some real homemade stuff. So, and there's not that many DVDs that's going to be released. So, as far as picture quality, sound, you got to keep in mind and I told her, I said, don't worry about it. As long as the matches are good, I ain't tripping. She's like, you'll enjoy the match. I was like, all right, cool. Right. I was, if not the first, I was among the first to get an early advance copy before she even, and I remember telling her, I said, look, this is off, this is off, this is off, this is off. I was like, the matches are good. I was like, and I told her straight up, I said, but, da 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 da. And I offered, this is how much I mess with Kacee Carlisle. This is how much I mess with her. I told her, I said, look, you and me are both in DC. I got equipment. Anytime you're getting ready to do these matches, just let me know where you're going to be. And if you can get me the credentials, I will freaking film the stuff myself. And we'll have that joint looking top-notch, freaking good. And, we can definitely compile some stuff, right? Right? I remember doing that. I offered that up to her. I even said to her, hey, look, I know how to, make DVDs as well. I'm sure we can kind of figure this out and, get some better stuff made as well if you decide you want to follow up with another volume and all that. And she was like, okay, I just might take you up on that. Okay, cool. Totally cool, man. She was totally freaking cool. But yeah, that pandemic, man, I think that really messed her up because one of the last times I had her on the show, we talked about retirement, and she told me straight up, she said, look, I know I'm kind of getting up there in age. I honestly feel, because the question was, how much longer you think you're going to be doing this? And she knew that father time was slowly kind of creeping up on her. And she told me straight up back then, she was like, I'd be surprised, Lee, honestly, if I'm still doing this in about 5 years, but for while I'm still active, I definitely want to get out there and I want to wrestle for as many promotions as possible, many promotions that'll have me. And, you know, it's sad that her work isn't going to be greatly appreciated. She's not going to get that proper send off that she so rightfully deserve. I mean, previous PWI women's countdown specials. I mean, she was high up there on the freaking list. Uh, God, she worked for WSU, Women Superstars Uncensored, the NWL, National Wrestling League, uh, WXW Wrestling, no, World Extreme Wrestling. Yeah, WXW, World Extreme Wrestling. Held the NWA World Women's Championship one time and I think she's still the Queen of Valkyrie current champion. I could be mistaken on that. We'll have to wait and see. I think one of the things that was really badass too, this tells you how close she was kind of coming along there. I don't know if you guys remember, but in 2011, when it came to TNA Gut Check, remember that little tournament that they used to do and all that? That's how my former broadcasting partner, Titus Machiavelli, me and him bonded over his appearance on TNA Gut Check, and that's what all had ultimately led to me and Titus working together for that brief period in time. I think we worked together. What was that? The Sanders Machiavelli era. I think that might have been a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years there. We broke so many hearts when we went our separate ways, I remember. But she participated in TNA Gut Check. She did not earn a contract though. She did not, which I thought was just a bunch of BS personally. And then when she had became the NWA Women's Champion, so many people go to Camille, but understand something. Before Camille's long title reign, Kacee Carlisle, she had it for, my God, she had it for a little bit over 2 years before losing it to Barbie Hayden. So, she Barbie Hayden is somebody that frequently works in Wild Women of Wrestling. You know her better as my God, what's her name? The Governor's Daughter, Abilene Maverick, I think is the name. Yeah, you guys know her better from Wild Women of Wrestling, but yeah, long decorated career. Any promotion that she had worked for, I mean, you just got to go back and look. It's like a freaking who's who. It is like a freaking who's who. The list just goes on and on and on as far as the wrestling promotions that she worked for, the women's championships that she won, numerous times that she ranked pretty high up there on the PWI list. It sucks that she's not going to be able to properly have that retirement match, but there's enough Kacee Carlisle matches that's out there for many people to enjoy. And just to kind of give you guys full context here as far as the last couple of matches that she did, I want you guys to understand this. She hasn't wrestled, like up to now, she hasn't wrestled in almost 4 years. So as far as retirement, like, we kind of suspected, like, those of us that know our women's wrestling and all that, I know when I would bring her name up in my inner circle of friends, we all kind of suspected, she's done. If she hasn't put anything out there by now, she's done. But like I'm looking right now at the last couple of matches that she did in 2020, which was 4 matches, and they all basically stretch out over the course of the beginning of the year, and pretty much wrapping up right before summer. And then she had 4 matches in 2019. Or hang on, she had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. She had 10 matches in 2019, about the same in 2018. I mean, so definitely as the years kind of go back, it seemed like it was more and more active. But, you can definitely see that as we were getting around to that pandemic time, that's when it just kind of came to a screeching halt and everything. But I definitely wish her nothing but the very best. She was also, I think, besides TNA Gut Check, remember also one of the other main highlights of her career, besides everything else that we just talked about, she was one of the original Rosebuds for Adam Rose. I so remember taking a picture of her and sharing it on social media, and then trying to talk to her about her experience as a Rosebud, and what it was like being on Raw. And she shared some really cool info. You all should definitely go back and check out some of the interviews. I have it on the playlist up on the YouTube channel, so you guys are definitely more than welcome to check that out. So, some other news little tidbits that we can get into. By the way, check out that WWE special I was referencing earlier. Thursday on Peacock, 2024 preview. Comes on at 8 p.m. Eastern. CM Punk is going to be making a special appearance. Meanwhile, Velveteen Dream released an apology video. I don't know if you guys had saw this or listened to it, but there was a apology video that was released. He posted this on Instagram. And I'll tell you what we will do right now. Let's actually load this up. On... Ooh. Let's load this up here. I'm going to have the audio play for you guys through my phone. So let's find Instagram. I've really got to clean my phone. I got so many apps on this damn phone. It's not even funny, man. All right, now let's see how we can find him. Velveteen Dream. Typing in, hang on, Velveteen Dream. There he is. No, that's not him. So I guess maybe he's under Patrick Clark. Let's try that. Patrick. Yep, I see him. Okay, so I guess this is it. Interesting. So when you find him on Instagram, the joint says actor. And then he's got a link tree joint. Yeah, this is him. I see Julian is following him. All right, so let's let this audio play. Let you guys listen to this. I'm assuming this is it. Yep.
As you've probably seen or have heard over the course of the last few years, I want to apologize for my behavior. Both professionally and personally, I always preach to those closest to me about the power of accountability and responsibility, and I take full accountability for my behavior over the last 3 years of my life. When narratives were written about me, it doesn't matter. It didn't matter what was written about me. It doesn't matter what was said about me. It doesn't matter what's on the internet about me. I was wrong. Okay? And because of that, I need to apologize to a few people. First, I want to apologize to the WWE organization. I want to apologize to the WWE organization for any unwanted attention and negative press that I've brought to your brand and your product. I want to apologize to the WWE fans and the Velveteen Dream fans, because when you hear the name Velveteen Dream, it should have only been spoken about in a productive and a positive light. Not the name Patrick Clark as another statistic of what happens when talent and opportunity meet immaturity. Okay? That's not what you spend your hard-earned money on. It's not what you invest your time and your money in. When you look on the TV and you come to the shows, you should escape reality, not have to deal with mine. I want to apologize to the WWE and the fans. I want to apologize to Paul Levesque. Paul, you are such an understanding and patient man and leader, and getting the opportunity to work with you and to learn from you, I get the sense of what makes you who you are and how you've been able to handle the responsibility of being in the public light for such a long time. I want to apologize to you, Paul. I'm sorry. Also, I want to say I'm sorry to Shawn Michaels. Shawn, it's still beyond me that I've been having the opportunity in this lifetime to learn from you, to have your mentorship and your guidance. And I apologize if you feel like you've wasted your time and your energy investing into me. You have not. I'm still a work in progress. I'm still learning, and I remember all the lessons that you've taught me. Shawn, I'm sorry. My best friend, Tahuti Miles, I want to apologize to you because before you were tied to me publicly for the support you've given me and you continue to give me, your resume was impeccable. And I apologize for any smudges that I may have put on that resume because of my behavior. You're the last person that should have to deal with anything like that, and I'm sorry, man. I want to apologize to my family, my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, my nieces and my nephews, because you may read things, you may hear about things, you may be confronted by people who you don't know, and you might feel the need to explain yourselves on my behalf. I just want you to know that you do not have to do that, ever. No one should have to explain anything for Patrick Clark. No one should have to trend because of Patrick Clark. No one should have to answer the questions, where's Patrick now? What did Patrick do? What happened with Patrick? That's not your responsibility, and I don't want you to feel burdened with that responsibility. That's my responsibility, okay? And I apologize to you all for any energy, negative energy that has had to come your way because of me, okay? Again, I want to apologize to the fans and those in my professional and personal life that I've affected by my behavior. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I recognize that I was losing myself, and I apologize to anyone that I lost along the way, anyone that I've upset or offended because of my behavior. Man, I'm sorry. And I hope you all forgive me. Thank you.
Wow. I kept mainly putting my head down because I was really trying to really take in. That was my first time actually seeing this video, listening to it. I had heard about it earlier today, but I didn't get a chance to, until now, obviously. And wow. Well, first of all, for those of you that have not seen this video yet, it is Patrick Clark. He looks as though, because I'm actually seeing a picture that is right below the video that he put out, and it looks like he is in some type of a hunting vest. Maybe he decided, hey, you know what? Let me just, since we're here and everything is just so good right now, I'm out here hunting some birds. Let me just take this time out to do an apology video, because it looks like he's like literally wearing the same thing, if not something similar, right? But the way he gets in front of the camera, I gotta say, I appreciate the fact that he knows where the lens is, where he needs to look. This comes off very, very serious. I genuinely picked up sincerity in his voice here. I like the fact that when he referenced Triple H, he didn't call him Triple H. He called him Paul Levesque. I appreciate the fact that he talked about his nieces, his nephews, his family, but particularly his nieces and nephews who, they're obviously, as they get a little older, they're going to see and hear some things about him, and then they're unfortunately going to be made to feel that they're in a position where they're going to have to defend their family by defending him and letting them know, hey, it's not your battle to defend me. I got that, right? I picked up great sincerity here, and I'm usually a good detector of BS when I hear it, when I feel it. And I don't pick up that vibe here at all from Patrick Clark. It seems as though he has really let time go past and be reflective. There was so much stuff that was said about Patrick Clark. I mean, from the stuff of dealing with underage folks and sending unsolicited pics to underage people and underage children, to little stuff that went down with him sniffing cocaine in front of a police officer when he got pulled over a couple of years back, and then the stuff with EC3, where I can't even remember who started what, but I just remember EC3 said, hey, dude tried putting his camera phone in the bathroom in such a way where when us men went in the bathroom and we did what we needed to do, our dicks were captured. They were being video recorded by Patrick Clark, and just that whole back and forth that was going on between those two. There was just so many black eyes left and right, and it was so sad to hear because I remember I was a huge Velveteen Dream fan, a huge freaking fan. Right down to the point, I remember when they did that infamous season of Tough Enough, and then, many longtime listeners know this. He's from right here in Washington, D.C. And nothing cheers you on more than when you see somebody from your hometown. Oh man, they got a shot. You want to support them to the fullest. To the fullest, you want to support them. And, I remember I became enamored with this guy. I remember when Tough Enough, I said, that's my guy. He's going to win all of it. You just wait and see. It's going to be this guy. And my heart was broken when he didn't win Tough Enough. When he got eliminated, I still remember how Chris Jericho has said to him, hey, look, you've been here for a couple of weeks now. You were able to make some really good contacts. Utilize those contacts. And if you're serious, you definitely are going to be back here again. And I already knew just by looking at everything that was going down. I'm like, he'll be back. He will definitely be back. We will see him. Just wait and see. And sure enough, he comes on back. Man, you talk about a nice crossbreed between vintage Goldust and Prince, all right, combined. I mean, he had the whole it factor going on. And WWE, for the longest time, they tried to have this guy's back. Even when all the stuff had initially went down, what school do you go to? And all Patrick Clark, hey, here, take my phone if you want. You can take my phone. You can, check it out, do whatever you want to do. It's fine. I don't know why this is being said about me. And didn't somebody come forward about some awkward phone conversations, text messages that they had with Patrick Clark? And I think that was definitely what really had sealed the deal for this guy. Not to mention the bad temperament that he had going on with him while he was in the company and everything. There's just the totality of a lot of things that just... And see, when you've been involved in the type of controversy that Patrick Clark has been involved in, it becomes a case where who the hell is going to touch you? Who dare wants to hire you? Because the level of toxicity and bad press that it would bring. Okay? And obviously, this guy had to do something to pay the bills, right? Working at a gym. But then he's biting some employee on the face or arm, whatever. There's just so many things that was going on with this guy that a lot of the stuff that I was hearing, I couldn't help but go, well, if this man doesn't have a serious drug problem, maybe he is suffering some form of a bipolar disorder and he hasn't been properly diagnosed yet. Maybe this guy has some form of schizophrenia or something, you know? He's 28 years old. He still has a lot that he can offer to the wrestling industry, but sadly, with everything that we just highlighted and the totality of everything that we just highlighted, I ask you, how, why would anyone want to touch this guy? Even if you can put on a great match that would get the attention of Dave Meltzer, why would you risk putting him on when you can just go get somebody else that does not have any controversy attached to them? It's really sad, you know, what went down with this brother. It really is. And at the same time, I definitely commend him for taking some form of accountability. As I always talk about here on the show, you know, week in, week out on a yearly basis, self-accountability. Where is the self-accountability? And here he is taking accountability for all of his actions, all the allegations, the legal issues, you know, but just so much damage has been done. Being accused of sending indecent images to underage boys on Instagram. I mean, this is the stuff that Chris Hansen goes, hey, how you doing there? Why don't you take a seat? I mean, okay, it is that kind of stuff. During the speaking out movement, you had allegations made about him sending a explicit photo to an underage girl. More inappropriate communications with young boys that apparently he was allegedly grooming or whatever. Now, WWE, hey, we didn't find anything. Guy gets arrested twice in Florida. Twice in Florida. Just the totality of all of that. And see, this isn't a case where, oh, well, the last incident that had went down, it was 5, 6, 7 years ago. You know, the latest incidents went down in 2022. So, you know, I just, you know, as talented of a performer he was in that ring. No mistake about it. No mistake about it. As talented of a wrestler he was, you know, all of those controversies, you'd be a damn fool to hire this guy. You would. I'm glad that he did this apology video and everything, you know, but the best thing that he can do right now is get some religion in his life. and keep hold of that religion, whether he needs to be praying to Jesus or he needs to pray to Allah. You know, he better find something. Read the good book and do his best to stay on the right path. You know, from here on out. You know, try to do right by his family. Try to do right by that last name. Because with all the stuff that we just highlighted, he's brought great shame to it. And look, unfortunately, it's one of those deals where he can repent. He can do any and everything 20 times over to become a different person. Certain things you can come back from, but when you get linked to stuff like what we talked about with kids, like typically there's no coming back from that. typically there is no coming back from that because it's one of those. It's like the scarlet leather. It's like a tattoo. It's permanent. It is permanent, unfortunately. There's a reason why we still haven't seen Joey Ryan. There's a reason why we haven't seen who's the one that's now working overseas and was working as a FedEx driver, delivery driver or something, and he got seen, and apparently the employer found out what he had did, and they basically were like, "Yeah, nah, we don't want to have anything to do with you." I don't want to mention the wrong wrestler, but y'all know exactly who I'm talking about. Some wrestler out in London. It was like a couple of years back, and once he got, has a whole new look now and everything. Like, you don't even recognize him from when he was in the ring last. Yeah, I've sincerely felt that apology though. It did legit feel sincere. It really, really did. But like, the damage was already done. It'd be one thing, God, this is a headache. When he did all this stuff, it's not like we're talking about somebody that was 18, 19 years old. We are talking about somebody that is currently 28 years old. And when all of this stuff was going on, they were like 24, 25 years old. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I know when I was 24, 25 years old, the only thing that I could think about at that point was, yo, I want to continue to maintain some type of a roof over my head because I like living on my own. Last thing I want to do is go back and live with my parents. I like this good money that I'm making out here. I like being on my own, right? Hey, hopefully I can meet a nice woman and I can, entertain the idea of settling down, maybe having a kid or two or three, and but all this crap that was going on with this guy, right? They say, young men, they make stupid boneheaded, like, but this is just, it's this the stuff that he did. This is beyond that. This is beyond, oh, you were being reckless. You were being, this is like some taboo, sinful shit. There's just no coming back from that. Show me a person that's come back from this. Show me a person that has come back from stuff like this, and maybe I'll go, yeah, sure, why not? Maybe everybody does have a second round in them, right? Everybody makes mistakes. There's definitely no doubt about that. But understand that, there's certain things that, well, come on, man. Like, that's a hell no. You just don't do that. Like, seriously. But I wish the brother the best. Very sad. Very sad. Because you just think about all the potential that this brother had. You think about the potential that he had and what could have been. This guy most likely would have been a two-time WWE champion by now. And I'm not just saying that. Like, legit. He probably would have been a two-time WWE champion by now. Kimber Lee, her pre-trial hearing on DUI charges has been delayed. It was delayed to the next month. Remember, this goes back to her resisting an officer with violence and battery on a law enforcement officer going back to May of last year. PW Insider reporting that yesterday's planned hearing was granted a continuance at the request of Lee's legal team. Lawyers said they were trying to set up depositions with the officer in the arrest, set to give one on January 11th. The hearing's now going to be taking place February 8th. Remember, she was arrested after, according to the police report, an officer saw her in her car facing the wrong direction, stopped on a roadway. Officer made a traffic stop and the car began moving, nearly colliding with the guardrail and then stopping in a parking lot of a shopping center. Lee was driving and allegedly slurring her words, with the officer noting that she kept forgetting why she had stopped and asked several times why the officer was messing with her. She allegedly tried to leave the area multiple times to retrieve her laundry from a laundromat when the officer tried to place her in handcuffs. She struck him in the chest to stop him, which led to her being arrested for battery on a law enforcement officer. Lee continued to resist. Per the report, kicked the officer in their chest and face, busting their lip. She had a blood alcohol level of 0.14. Legal limit in Florida is 0.08. When asked to give a second sample, she allegedly failed to comply and failed to give a sample on purpose. She entered a not guilty plea to all charges on July 7th. So that's the recap of what's happening there with Kimberly. And this is in Florida, too. She ain't winning this one. Now, jail time, I don't see that happening. I think the worst thing that's probably going to happen is she's probably going to have to do maybe about 500 hours of community service. I can see there being some type of a citation, ticket and or fine. I can see a lot of those things going down. But this definitely looks bad for Kimberly. You know, it's interesting because considering all the stuff that had went down, and look, we'll never really definitively know who did what in that respected relationship, but we can all be in agreement. A rather dick move to be holding on to a photograph of, at that point, your boyfriend, but then became your ex, and you know, in an uncompromising position. Why he would even allow himself to have his picture taken with that mustache, that shape up of a mustache, and then hitting that pose is beyond stupidity and beyond ignorance to me. But the damage was done, and why this individual decided they wanted to keep that is just, you know, I got to be honest, I have learned, and the fact that I'm still continuing to learn new things as I get older, especially, I love it. I love it because I'm finding that as I get older, you really got to tread lightly on the type of stuff that you think is funny. You really got to tread lightly on certain things that you say that can be misconstrued by others, especially those that are not familiar with your personality at all, especially with those that do not have any type of a rapport with you at all, because what you might look at as you don't mean no harm, it's just harmless fun, could greatly offend that other person to the point that they want to take a screenshot of what you said and have it tucked away somewhere for a rainy day and basically try to throw it back in your face when you knew what you meant in the first place. There's a lot of that is going on these days, where a lot of individuals got so many stockpile images, screenshots of certain things out there on social media and all that. Just, it's really, really creepy. I gotta tell you, it's really, really creepy. So much so that I've honestly, no bull, I've gotten to a point that when it comes to social media, unless I'm giving my thoughts about a TV show, a movie, in real time, or hey, I just saw the new Spider-Man movie and da 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 da, or I'm plugging a show, or maybe I'm responding to somebody's, you know, wrestling related question or whatever. But, you know, unless it's something along those lines, I save all my talking to my immediate family and those I consider to be my friends, you know, my true friends. And I know that with those true friends, especially if I'm hitting them up privately in a Discord chat or I'm texting them, I know that what I say to them, that's their eyes and ears only. They know me just as I know them. You know, and if it's a case where clarification is needed, they know how to just come right out and ask. They ain't got to be intimidated. They ain't got to be scared, and all that other stuff. You know, it's weird. It's really weird how, you know, things are with social media these days. You know, yeah, you can jump out there and you can speak your mind, but if you are in a position where you're trying to get to a certain level in your respected career, you definitely, really at all times, you really got to be mindful of what you put out there. Because again, just as people can't read your mind, you can't read their mind. So you got to always make sure that when you're putting something out there, there's really no way that it can be misconstrued. You feel me? Just, it's just something to think about. I just look at that whole situation with the Hitler mustache picture and all that, and just how it messed up that poor kid's career. Because I mean, when you really stop and think about it, we didn't hear anything else about him. He wasn't involved in any other controversies, was he not? That was like the one time that he was in the, you know. But yeah, she definitely didn't come out of that looking like a freaking saint. I know there was a lot of negativity being sent her way and all that. It's like, damn, you're working at a animal hospital or veterinary clinic or whatever. Like, you're taking care of animals. Like, why not just focus on that? And then those times when she was saying, "Oh, I'm gonna get away from the wrestling world," oh, social media is too okay. Well, go do you. Go do what you're gonna do. And she still kept lingering around and everything. I think one of the last times she was still active on social media, she was doing, wasn't she doing OnlyFans or something like that? Wasn't she putting some nudie pics out there or whatever? You know, it's just, I tell you, it's just weird. It's just weird. Anyway, I'm ranting. I'm done ranting. Shout out to Selina de la Renta. She recently appeared on a Fox game show called The Floor. Apparently, she survived the first episode of the show. So, as far as I'm trying to see, remember that's the joint with Rob Lowe. I'm trying to see when that episode is going to be premiering. Give me a second here. Fox's The Floor. Hang on. I'll see when it's premiering, because I know it's available on demand. But for those of you that want to maybe watch it when it actually airs. Okay, so it premiered on January 2nd. So what was that? That would have been a Tuesday. So it's safe to say new episodes come on Tuesdays for those of you that are interested. Looks like Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Is it 9 p.m. Eastern? Hang on. It's either 8 or 9 o'clock Tuesdays on Fox for those of you that are interested. But you can definitely go back and check out the premiere episode right now for those of you that are interested. Hey, want to take this time out and recognize some of our show sponsors, because without their kind contributions, shows like what you're checking out right now would not be made possible. So definitely, when you get an opportunity, check these guys out. We love working with them. Shout out to the good friends over at shoptotallytshirt.com. If you got a sports team, charitable event, or company that needs t-shirts, hoodies, hats, shoptotallytshirt.com is your hookup. Not only do they have great customer service, but they offer the best top-notch quality items at affordable prices. Check them out today, shoptotallytshirt.com. Also, if you like freeze-dried candy, check out CandyKingdomVT.com. These guys have mastered the art of air dry freezing candy. We're talking about candy that is nice, cold, crunchy, bursting with flavor. Check out CandyKingdomVT.com. We're also brought to you in part by Doback.com. Get rewarded for shopping online at some of your favorite merchants. And at the same time, you can get coupon discounts, cashback discounts. Talk about just plenty of great unbeatable deals that's out there. Cashback offers, coupons, discounts, the whole 9 yards, all for shopping online. check them out, doback.com. Once again, doback.com. Appreciate all of these great folks that are our sponsors. Be kind, rewind. Check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads, wherever you get your podcasts. Just search the RCWR Show. And you can follow the show on Instagram, Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, the RCWR Show. That poll, by the way, asking you guys, what did you think about this week's AEW Dynamite? I am looking at the results so far. And hang on here. If you guys got X, make sure you go vote. Hang on here. I'll tell you where we're at with the poll. 0% for middle of the road, 38% thumbs down, and 63% thumbs up as far as the thoughts on this week's Dynamite. Next edition of the RCWR Show is going to be coming your way on Monday night, January 8th, 2024. You haven't checked out the previous episodes yet, make sure you do so. Get yourself caught up, and I will see you all then. Happy New Year, everybody, once again. Looks like 2024 is off to a great start. And, hey, shout out to those of you that's going to be on the East Coast, whether you live on the East Coast or you got some family and friends that's going to be coming to see you, and you live on the East Coast. Looks like we got some snow that's coming. Not going to really know about the accumulations until Thursday going into Friday. I know for the D.C. metropolitan area, they are talking about an accumulation in some parts. So they're definitely saying a storm, but what's not sure right now is it going to mostly be rain, or is it definitely going to be a case of snow accumulation? And early chatter right now is snow accumulation, but it really depends on where you reside. So my whole point, if you're on the East Coast and you're under a snow advisory, you don't have to be on the road, especially if your tires can't really handle it, then take it easy. Enjoy some, I don't know, cocoa or whatever your favorite drink is. For me, I'm doing a Malibu cocktail. I'm going to be taking it easy this weekend and seeing what textbooks I need for the upcoming semester. You feel me? That's going to do it, y'all. Till next go around. Wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I'll see you next go around. Enjoy the weekend, y'all. Peace.